Pepsi Zero Sugar? You've really outdone yourself this time. Pizza deserves Pepsi.
Handy Hugo's has a refreshing deal. 2 1-liter Pepsis for just $3. Quench your thirst at Handy Hugo's today.
At First Carolina Bank, we pride ourselves on building relationships and doing the day-to-day things in banking extremely well. Experience the First Carolina way for yourself or your business today. Visit firstcarolinabank.com. First Carolina Bank. Member FDIC.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
It was a good NBA draft for the Duke starting 5 from their Final Four team this past season. Cooper Flagg, number 1 to the Mavs. Con Knipple, number 4 to the Hornets. Kamon Malawash, number 10 to the Suns. Sion James, number 33 to the Hornets. And finally, Tyrese Proctor, number 49 to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Their entire starting 5 was drafted in either the first or second round. It's just a 2-round draft. They were that talented this past year.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Let's dig in, shall we? Good Friday, everybody. Paul Lyhander in for Adam Gold today. Adam finishing off a long week of rest and relaxation. He promises to be back, and I said he promises to be back, not me. I didn't promise that at all, but it's been a hot second since I've been able to hang out with all of you. Paul Lyhander with you. In for Adam Gold today. It's great to be with you on this Friday, wherever you may be listening. Victoria Vodenecker is here as always. Hello, Victoria.
Hello. I'm glad you can share in our Friday today.
It's a wonderful Friday. There's no doubt about it.
It's a hot Friday.
It is indeed.
Staying on brand.
I'm a little distracted, Victoria, as we get the program started because next week is the holiday week, and it's a short week for some. Some people already might be thinking, I mean, I got waiting for 5 o'clock today. I got a big week coming off, and they're trying to cram in all the work, and maybe there's they promised a car to one of their customers, and like, hey, listen, we're gonna get the brakes fixed, I promise, but it'll be like 4:30, and then all of a sudden it becomes 5:30, and they still made that promise, so got to get that done. Props to those of you who make promises and keep them. But this is one of those distraction days because it is the final Friday of the month of June.
Yeah.
If you can believe that or not. We have made it through 6 glorious months of the great year of 2025, and a lot of things have certainly happened. And I'm a shade distracted because I am one of those people that is trying to cram all this stuff into one day, knowing that next week I'll be spending a little time at the Carolina shore.
Nice.
Yeah,
Good for you.
Yeah, going to put my toes in the sand, my butt in the water.
Yep.
Just let the world roll by and whatnot.
Saltwater therapy.
Along with thousands of others. I don't do, and last year I did it, but this year I learned my lesson. I'm not going to the shore for 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
I want to. My family loves fireworks and things like that, but I'm not sure that's prudent considering the sheer amount of people that also like to do that, and it falls on a weekend.
Yeah.
Like, if the 4th was a Wednesday,
right,
not a Friday, but
exactly.
a Wednesday, it might make things a little bit different.
That combination, though, the amount of people's like triple now.
Right. So anyway, I'll be one of those folks that'll be getting together with you. I promise I won't be stopping in the middle of the road to look at whatever it is because I've already seen the beach. I know what it is.
Yeah.
I know what it looks like. I know what the water looks like. But it should be good. So for those of you who haven't had spent time with me, I am on the air in Raleigh on 99.9 The Fan every morning from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And if you have any inkling of what to do when it comes to the local sports world, I have an idea. I have a small idea. But I'm not super famous, so as my grandfather used to say, and stick with me for the next 3 hours, folks, let me show you off the skills that brought me to near fame. And let's get it started, Victoria.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started.
Near fame.
Wise grandfather words. I love it.
I love my grandfather. I miss him dearly. We used to play golf together all the time.
Aw.
Taught me how to play cards.
Oh, that's the best.
Valuable skills.
Yes.
The valuable skills. More than anything else. And he drove an Oldsmobile. For those of you listening
have
who know
to.
what an Oldsmobile is, that's a grandfather car.
You have to have at least one grandparent that had an Oldsmobile.
Cadillac, a little lowrider Cadillac or black Cadillac or whatnot. White Oldsmobile.
Mine had an old Chevy truck. They have to have one of those.
That's how I learned how to drive, was on an old Chevy truck.
Nice.
So learned how to drive in a hayfield. I was much younger then, so you can tell. Those of you watching on YouTube can tell that I have life experience. That's the best way to put it. I have life experience. But life experience that's been thrust upon me. I'm not as old as that looks on top of the head, I promise you.
Life comes at you fast
Life,
sometimes.
With me, really fast. All right, speaking of really fast, the NBA draft has come, and it has gone. 2 rounds of the NBA draft completed last night, round number 2, in which, yes, the entire starting 5 of the Duke Blue Devils basketball team last year, which did not win a national championship, but did reach heights that were truly expected, with the exception of winning a national championship and reaching that final game, came true. The last one to come off the board last night of the starting 5 actually was the guy that we thought would have come off first in the second round, which was Tyrese Proctor. And Tyrese Proctor coming off the board to the Cleveland Cavaliers at number 49, made it a clean sweep of the starting 5 for the Duke Blue Devils. Zion James going to the Charlotte Hornets at pick number 34, and the Hornets, by all imagination, had a very, very good draft. And it was positive all the way around, and the Hornets went to the well twice with the Duke Blue Devils team. Con Kneppel, obviously in the first round at number 4. Liam McNeely, late in the first round, the guard from Connecticut. Sorry, just a little brain fart there. Zion James, round 2, obviously from Duke. And Ryan Kalkbrenner, 7 feet, 2 inches tall from Creighton. We'll dig into that here in a hot second. But when it comes to analysis about this team and that Charlotte Hornets grab, right now the steal, at least according to former NBA head coach, former Seton Hall coach, and now ESPN analyst PJ Carlesimo, who I met in a grocery store in San Antonio, Texas back in 2006. Ryan Kalkbrenner is a steal for the Hornets.
I'm really high on this guy. He knows how to play. Excellent pick and roll player. Their pick and roll was a clinic. Watching them in pick and roll, he can block shots. I think he's closer to being a good outside shooter. He's not bad with threes, but I think he will. He's got the potential and he's got the stroke even better. I think this is a steal. I think he's going to be a very good contributor right away in the NBA.
And that is how long PJ Carlesimo has been around. Seton Hall head coach. He was the coach of the Portland Trailblazers for a while in the pros. Was an assistant coach in San Antonio for a couple of championship seasons. Bounced around a bit, now doing analysis, doing color commentary for ESPN. When PJ Carlesimo says a college player is a steal, he knows his business.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Kalkbrenner is 7'1", 7'2" in shoes, I believe. And if you watched any sort of college basketball, especially if you're watching on Fox, because they seem to have the market on Creighton basketball, Big East basketball and whatnot, Kalkbrenner, you can't teach height. And he runs the court just as well as anybody else. Now, the knock on Kalkbrenner, which I'm not quite sure is a knock, and we are going to talk about this very quickly. Kalkbrenner's knock is he can't shoot from outside of 10 feet. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't need a 7'2" player stepping outside, knowing I've got Brandon Miller and Ball, and now Con Kneppel, and a whole host of other guys who can shoot from the outside, including Liam McNeely from UConn.
Yes.
Saying, I need to step outside and shoot.
No, you don't need to go to the logo. Be under the bucket.
Right, exactly. What do I need a 7'2" player, man-child, to do for me for the Charlotte Hornets after I traded Mark Williams? What do you think the biggest thing I need him to do?
Right.
Protect the rim.
Exactly.
Like,
he can touch it just by raising his arm.
Stay close. Stay close to the rim. Protect the rim. Block shots. Like, the other knock on him was he dunks too much. I'm like, dude, you're 7'2".
How is that a knock?
Do the easy things.
I would dunk if I could.
Right. I'm like, do the easy stuff. Like, if you're tall, what do short people ask you to do? Reach for things on high shelves.
Exactly.
I'm like, the knock on him is he dunks too much? No, the dude dunks because it's the easiest, highest percentage shot in his arsenal.
Right. That's the goal. Ball in bucket.
I've never understood why that is the biggest complaint of a 7'2" incher. that he can't shoot for more than 10 to 12 feet outside and that he dunks the ball too much.
Wow.
That's like asking the plumber, well, you could fix the faucet, but really, if you would take the oven on.
Yeah, exactly. My car's making some kind of noise now. I
don't want to beleaguer the point.
Yeah.
But, and we could just laugh about this all day long. There are so many things we could go down this road with, but I'm like, that's the biggest complaint? No, dude.
That's
block
dumb.
shots. And that's why PJ Carlesimo thinks he is a steal. Also, when it comes to analysis, this draft for the Hornets, Con Kneppel, Liam McNeely, Sion James, Ryan Kalkbrenner, that's 4 picks. 4 picks. ACC analyst, former ACC stud Corey Alexander, does like the pair of experienced guys drafted by the Hornets.
And now you're talking about taking 2 guys who spent 5 years in college, Sion James, Ryan Kalkbrenner. Both can get the job done defensively, which, of course, we know the Hornets need work on the defensive end of the floor. So I like both of these picks going after guys who understand the right mindset. And you have Kalkbrenner and Sion James walking into the locker room. They're older than the superstars. They're older than Brandon Miller.
Yeah, they are seasoned. That's why I like the word seasoned, by the way.
I do too.
Like veteran and old.
Yeah,
and
vintage.
Yeah, right. I don't need that noise. I get enough of that at home from my kids. My dad's like, "You're old, Dad." And I'm like, "I'm not old."
Okay, stop.
Not old. I'm like, "You shut up and go back upstairs and play video games I don't understand."
All right.
It's true. James, and I think a lot of folks forget about Sion James, is that he is a seasoned player that played extensively in college, was a transfer from Tulane, rounded out his skills. And again, they talk about role players and what James can bring to this team. All 4 of these guys bring something different to this team, but James can carve himself a niche. And I said it after he was drafted, and I said it during my show this morning in Raleigh, that there's a place for role players in the NBA. And if James's knock is he plays tough defense but shoots really well from outside, and he can do that in limited minutes, Bruce Bowen, formerly of the Spurs and played around the league, but played a lot of time with the San Antonio Spurs, was a lockdown defender, made all defensive teams, and made his niche early on in his career as being a defender and being a very good one at that, and plus shot high percentage threes. That's a good thing. That's a really good thing to have in your arsenal. I love the idea. I agree with Alexander in that. Kalkbrenner and James will help them out. McNeely can shoot, and Kneppel, who I embracingly and lovingly called, and he's going to hit me over the head with this one at some point, but I'm older than you, Con. I could be your dad. Just saying. I call him Steve from Minecraft.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He's built like Steve from Minecraft.
Yeah?
He admittedly, he goes, I'm not the fastest guy out there. But Steve from Minecraft does a lot of the same things that Con Kneppel does. He creates things out of nothing.
Yeah.
He uses the tools within his arsenal to create better things. Con Kneppel, you can just imagine rolling into Minecraft and chopping down a tree with his hands.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then all of a sudden, he builds a statue.
Right.
That is Con
exactly.
Kneppel.
How did you make that cake? Well.
That is Con Kneppel. He creates things out of things you wouldn't expect, and that's a good thing for the Hornets. Before we step on here and move forward a little bit, I do want to talk very briefly about Tyrese Proctor and Proctor getting picked after James. I thought it was going to be the reverse, to be open with everybody, but he found himself a good landing spot in Cleveland. He will probably get some good run there. Hopefully, he can stay away from the injury bug. And the knock on him, just like Kalkbrenner, it was strange. Tyrese Proctor, everyone goes, he's a good shooter, plays really good defense, but they want him to increase his steals percentage. They want him to steal the ball more. But they say he's a good defender. And I'm like, at some point, a steal is just as good as the guy you're defending passing the ball away from you.
Right.
Especially if you're defending a guy who's a 1 option or a 2 option. Like, isn't that a good thing? I played good enough defense to make sure that this guy, who you don't want shooting the basketball, has given it to another player who you want shooting the ball.
Right.
So increase your steal. Again, these are the little nitpicky things
Very.
that come with the nuances of being the NBA and the NBA draft.
Yeah, he's still creating opportunities, just in a different way.
You play good enough defense, Sion James. You play good enough defense, Tyrese Proctor. And you play really well as a team, and the Duke Blue Devils starting 5 is now no longer speaking as collegians, but they are now professional athletes. All right, let's move on here. And I just smacked the microphone. The NHL. The NHL, later today, we'll talk about labor peace. The labor peace that will roll into the next decade. And this is very positive because of all the professional leagues, the big 4, And I could throw NASCAR into this thing, too. I could throw the WNBA into this as well. So let's just go 6. You know what? Let's throw professional golf into this as well. The PGA Tour and LIV. The NHL right now feels like that they are the most stable. That they have very little infighting. That there is labor peace among their collective bargaining agreement between teams and players. And that a news conference will be held later today. As far as we know, it's still on. That they will talk about an extension of the collective bargaining agreement. But what does that mean for you? Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, theys and thems, if you are a season ticket holder of an NHL team, be prepared to pay more.
Mm-hmm.
You will only have to pay for one more regular season game, but it will certainly cost you more in a couple of different areas. Why, you ask? Well, the salary cap's going up by another $8 million next year. We already know about what is happening this year. It's gone up $7.5 million. Next year, it'll be $8 million. The year after that, it'll be $8.5 million. The players have no issues making more money. But the money has to come from somewhere, and the current broadcasting agreements have already been agreed to. So what does that mean? Well, that extra game, that means the NHL schedule will expand for the first time in roughly a decade from 82 regular season games to 84 regular season games, which means one more at home. Where does that take away? It takes away from the preseason. Well, Paul, you're thinking to yourself, the math should still math. It should still be roughly 88 games. Not so fast. Most NHL teams like to use those games as fundraisers.
Yep.
Most use those games as a way to paper and let the community in for a much cheaper price. Because, let's be honest, you aren't exactly seeing the NHL at its best in the preseason. I believe the preseason starts before the games like 48 hours.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like the NHL calls the players to camp, and then all of a sudden, the first game's 3 days later.
Mm-hmm.
After they've all had a summer full of lakeside jet skiing.
A lot of cabins.
A lot of beers.
Yep.
Weddings.
Oh, many weddings.
And players that don't have a lot of sleep because they just had their first, second, or third children.
Mm-hmm.
That is the NHL in a nutshell. So, season ticket holders will be paying a bit more. What it also means, though, is that you get a little bit more counting action. You also get fewer Cinderella stories. And what I mean by that, the new CBA is now going to allow the emergency backup goalie, known as the E-Bug. The E-Bug will now be more of a fixed position within teams as opposed to just having to call randos off the street. They'll be able to practice with teams, be able to sit with the teams, so you won't have as many David Ayers situations, if you remember that, Carolina Hurricanes fans, as you normally would.
Yeah.
And it won't be a cold goalie either. It wouldn't be someone who got cold. Say, and I just speak to the Hurricanes because I think that's the one that most people listening to this program are familiar with. Thank you very much, Adam Gold, for doing that education. Pyotr Kochetkov and Freddie Anderson. Say, Freddie pukes in the pregame.
Right.
And can't get on. And Pyotr Kochetkov poke checks the wrong guy and gets fallen on by a Sam from Florida.
All very likely
Right, all
scenarios.
very likely scenarios. These aren't even far-fetched.
No.
These aren't even out of the realm. So you don't have to bring in somebody cold from the press box that's sitting up there with the rest of us schlubs as we watch and dissect the game. They wouldn't come in cold. They'd be ready to go. That is the whole point of having that position. So it does create more opportunity within the NHL and the Players Association. Hooray! Players get a little bit of a win there too.
Yeah.
So a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but player contracts will be limited. That's the only thing. You will no longer have an 8-year maximum contract. You will now have a 7-year maximum contract. How that affects you and I, not very much. It affects more of the players, and honestly, you know what? I take that back. It would affect you if, say, your favorite team, and maybe it's not the Carolina Hurricanes, and that's okay. Maybe it's the Chicago Blackhawks. Maybe it's the Boston Bruins. And you are about ready to retire that old-ass jersey that you had of your favorite player, and there's somebody new coming in. And now you're thinking about, how am I going to spend that $150 to $250 on that jersey? This is why I'm an advocate of buying blanks.
Oh, yeah.
Buy the blank jersey.
Always.
Yeah,
I agree.
Whether it's road or away, buy the blank. That way you're never heartbroken.
Exactly.
And you know what? Unless you're in a relationship that involves changing your name,
right,
don't put your name on the back.
No, just a number.
Just in case, Victoria.
Right? You never know.
Just in case.
It's not a bad idea.
Right, you never know. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. Can you tell it's a Friday?
Right.
Can you tell it's
the greatest
That's
Friday.
right. Paul Ihander in for Adam Gold today. It is the Adam Gold Show. Sometimes I forget to remind people that it's not Adam Gold. Not that I think people would forget that this doesn't sound like an Adam Gold show. We do the same things, but I am clearly not Adam. You had Dennis Cox in here earlier this week. You had Tim Donnelly in earlier this week.
I know. We've just had like a carousel.
It's been great, though. The one constant, though, Victoria.
Yes.
It's always you.
I'm here.
It's always you. So, more games, fewer weird stuff. The NHL will have labor peace, and thank goodness for that. We like stability when it comes to the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on here. We are going to stick with the Carolina Hurricanes theme because the Carolina Hurricanes offseason so far has consisted of a couple of things. Speculation and 2 signings so far. Eric Robinson signed last Friday to a 4-year contract extension. And a couple of days ago, the Carolina Hurricanes bolstered its roster, more for its minor league affiliate than its bigger roster, but Juha Jaska signed. A depth piece, no doubt about it. He played in about a quarter of the Hurricanes games this season, some limited minutes. Still looking for that first NHL goal, the tape puck and whatnot. But the Hurricanes offseason has been quiet. It has been more about rumor than it has been about fact. But a lot of that changes tonight as the Carolina Hurricanes begin adding players for the first time this offseason in a true capacity as they will go to the NHL Draft. The NHL Draft taking place tonight in Los Angeles, so back out on the West Coast again. Last year it was Las Vegas. This year it's Los Angeles, in which the teams are going to operate from home. Much like the NBA draft. The teams got to operate from home from the NBA draft over the last 2 nights when they went to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. The NHL draft, you know what? We don't need to fly everybody and rent a bunch of picnic tables and banquet tables. We can just leave everybody at home, and they can work in their confines and sleep in their own beds. Which, for some owners, it's fantastic. For some, I'm like, I'd kind of like to go to L.A. and hang out and enjoy the beach and some guacamole. And tacos. Oh, my goodness.
Ooh, I bet they're delicious.
Like some good tacos. The Carolina Hurricanes, though, have a long wait. The draft starts at 7 o'clock, and the Carolina Hurricanes pick 4th from last.
Oh.
So, and the NHL likes to drag out the first round. Here's how you know they like to drag out the first round. In the same time it will take them to do the first round tonight in Los Angeles, they run rounds 2 through 7 tomorrow in Los Angeles.
Right.
2 through 7.
Exactly. Wow.
Every round. Every round, in which the Carolina Hurricanes do not have a second-round pick.
Oh, wow. Plenty
Now,
of time for tacos.
Right, so they pick number 29 tonight. And with full transparency and full honesty, I could not tell you who they're going to pick at pick number 29. I have zero clue.
No.
It could be your next-door neighbor. It could be my next-door neighbor. Now, that would surprise me because my next-door neighbors, one, have kids that are younger than mine, and the other ones are at retirement age, and I've met their grandkids. They do not play hockey.
No.
So I can guarantee you that they will not be my next-door neighbors. But what I can guarantee you is that a first-round pick is very valued in the NHL, that it is considered a future pick, and you want to hit more times than you miss on a top pick. And the Carolina Hurricanes, with top picks, have had good, and they have had struggles. There is no doubt about it. That is littered with picks, but Eric Tulsky gets a chance to do something in this second year as general manager that he can get excited about, that he can bring some youth to this Carolina Hurricanes franchise that, to be honest, struggles to find places for youth on this roster up until this past season. And a pick tonight doesn't necessarily change the way the Carolina Hurricanes will operate, but it will certainly show you what they value in terms of future of the organization. Because when you pick at 29, much like in the NFL, much like in the NBA, and certainly in Major League Baseball, because you're drafting high school kids, you're drafting 18 and 19-year-olds. It's the same way. You're drafting for your future, and it's a little bit of what the best dude out there is available.
Mm-hmm.
This is an inexact science more than anything else. But the Hurricanes get to begin adding players tonight. And with all the noise that comes along, and I know Adam has talked about it with Mitch Marner, and he's not a big fan of adding Mitch Marner. I am when it comes to Mitch Marner. And the rumors out there of them trying to trade up and find a defenseman or trying to find a second-line center, whatever it is, none of those trades have happened. And free agency begins on July 1 That is a short weekend away.
Yep.
When at 12:01 a.m., much like the kids that are juniors in high school that have their phones right by their bed, and while they say do not disturb, you know they're like, oh, hopefully I get a couple of texts from coaches. The same way will be about all those agents across the NHL. They'll be getting texts about their players, and you hope, and I hope personally, that the Carolina Hurricanes have Mitch Marner's agent on speed dial, and they're the ones that are texting. And they text with an offer that they cannot refuse, because what does it harm if you ask the person out for a date? What's the worst thing that can happen when you say, I've got flowers, I've got candy, I've got reservations, and I will pick you up at 7. Are you ready to roll? What's the worst thing that can happen, Victoria, when you were asked out on a date?
They say no.
They say no. It's the worst thing that can happen. They say no.
I have laundry to do.
Washing hair.
Yeah.
Something suddenly came up.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not feeling well.
But when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes, and they have more than $26 million of first date money, they don't have to offer all of it. They don't have to spend all of it. But what's the harm in asking? Because a guy like that, as I have called, and those of you familiar with the Big Rock Fishing Tournament, the guy I have called the Big Blue Marlin,
Yeah.
Mitch Marner, what's the harm in casting your line out into that big ocean
You never know.
and trying to hook that blue marlin?
Mm-hmm.
We need shots. We need goals.
Yep.
We need a guy that Rod Brindamore can believe in. And right now, that body of work suggests that all 3 of those boxes get checked.
Yeah, never hurts.
All 3. So why not cast that line? Why not offer the flowers and chocolates and dinner reservations all at one time? Because the worst thing that can happen
Is they say no. And then we'll move on to the next one.
There
And
you
if
go.
there's anybody I trust to make a good choice, it's Eric Tulsky.
Making choices, Eric. Making choices.
Making good choices.
Right? I think every Canes fan's out there waiting for him to leave for the doorstep. Making choices.
Uh-huh. Think of us.
There you go. All right, Adam Gold Show here on this Friday, last Friday of June. Paul Eihander in for Adam today. Appreciate him letting me sit in the chair once again. Victoria is here as always. Coming up next, what the way too early college football bowl projections tell you about UNC. Next up on the Adam Gold Show.
Talking sports, so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I know the hurricane season came to an end. Another year with a loss to Florida in the Eastern Conference Finals, 2 of the last 3. But it's been a great year, and it's going to be a great summer with all that cap room the Hurricanes have. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, from free agency to trades to the draft. We'll have player interviews, special sit-down with Rod Brindamore that he doesn't even know about yet. He'll do it, don't worry. Just stay tuned to the Canes Corner podcast on YouTube. Search Canes Corner and wherever you get your podcast.
This summer, the world's game comes to Charlotte. Bank of America Stadium will host epic round of 16 matchups on Saturday, June 28th and Monday, June 30th. Teams will be revealed soon, but one thing's clear. You won't want to miss this. Be there when it happens. Grab your tickets now at FIFA.com/tickets. Bank of America Stadium. The world is watching.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets, choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bow time.
Bank of America is the nation's leading business lender, and we're ready to help with your next goal here in the Triangle. That's why we have over 3,700 local business specialists across the country. Because with the right team, your business and community prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Do you have a wedding anniversary coming up? Don't just mark the day. Make it unforgettable with Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Shop their exquisite selection of designer jewelry or consider upgrading your original engagement ring with the diamond she really deserves. Whether this is the 1st or 31st anniversary, celebrate your love with something special, wrapped in a black and white striped box from Bailey's. Voted best jeweler from the Triangle to the coast. Every woman wants a Bailey box. Visit us today in store or at baileybox.com.
Progressive knows when you own a boat or RV, it's like you're automatically on vacation, even if you're actually a marriage counselor in the middle of couples therapy. But in your mind, you're camping in Acadia, puttering around Frenchman Bay. Your boat and RV are both protected. You're lobster drenched in butter and... Uh-oh, did your clients just notice you weren't listening? Quick, do the thing where you just repeat back exactly what they said but as a question. They bought it. Now back to Maine, earning an automatic discount bundling your boat or RV with your home or auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
One Adam Gold. One Adam Gold.
Because if interrupting is part of the talent, then she wins.
Giving an RBF face? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, everybody saw it.
I didn't say it. I
that picture
did not say that.
When they were asking Bill and she interrupts him and they look at her, that's evil. Like,
yeah. Okay.
I was waiting for the lights to come out of her pupils.
You're not wrong.
The Adam Gold Show.
So, this is the original. So this is Lip Sync.
Yes.
There's a group from the 80s that did a little bit more of a hybrid version called Pseudo Echo. So I know both versions of this song, Funky Town.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Victoria Vonecker is here. She's making us sound nice on the other side of the glass. As always, Paul Weihander in for Adam Gold today. Do love me some music. By the way, for those of you watching on the YouTube, not digesting us via your Alexa speaker or through the radios or whatnot. By the way, hi, everybody across the great state of North Carolina. It's great to be with you, all of you again. Normally, when I fill in for Adam, I have a red Solo cup.
Yes, you did last time.
I know. Normally, it's a tradition for me to have a red Solo cup. I couldn't find one. I couldn't find one today, and so I went with the insulated coffee cup,
right.
which I promise only has water in it.
Yeah.
The red Solo cup would usually let me hide a few things.
Yeah.
If I needed them.
Right.
Depending on how off the show would go, off the rails. See, that's how I play golf, by the way.
Oh.
So when I play golf, and I always play 18 holes, but it's not always the same 18. If the first 9 go well, I will usually, let's just say, not drink heavier out of the red Solo cup.
Mm-hmm.
If the first 9 holes do not go well, then fill it up.
Yeah, just overflow it.
You fill me up.
Exactly.
Red Solo cup, let's have a party.
It's when you cue the song, it's ready to go.
Hi, Toby Keith. Rest in peace, friend. All right, so the way too early college football bowl projections have come out. Thanks to our friends at CBS Sports. They have put out where they believe, and this is from there's data here too, so there's some truth, but there's also a hot bit of speculation when it comes to who's going to make the college football playoff in the 2025 college football season. Also, who will make a bunch of bowl games. Now, when it comes to the college football playoff first round, and now we are talking about top 4 teams getting first round buys. Among those top 4 teams, Clemson. Clemson is the ACC representative, and apparently they will run the table when it comes to college football in the upcoming season, and they have every reason to do so based on some fact and some speculation. Dabo Swinney's team, led by Cade Klubnik, and the fact that 80% of the offense is coming back in terms of production, that Clemson is the team to beat, and that they will get a first-round bye. The other Atlantic Coast Conference team, of which I'm not a favor of calling it the Atlantic Coast Conference anymore. I'm a bigger fan of the All Coast Conference because we are on all coasts now, not just the Gulf, but both oceans, Pacific and Atlantic. At least when we're talking about the United States, let's be clear if you know your geography. The other team would be Miami. And Mario Cristobal's team down there because he has a new quarterback as well. The quarterback who went there partly because of money and partly because of the girlfriend, right? Who he's no longer dating.
Right.
We don't have to go too much into what Carson Beck did or did not do with one of the Cavender twins. I'm just saying, dude, if there's a way to fumble the bag, you did it. You didn't fumble the money bag, but the dating bag, you didn't do so well.
He put the name on the jersey.
He did indeed. So, when it comes to the ACC teams, those are the two that will lead the way when it comes to the college football playoff. But I think a lot of you are probably more interested in what it means for the rest of the ACC, especially when it comes to teams that you were a little bit more dialed into. And when it comes to the ACC, NC State's right off the top. NC State returning CJ Bailey. We know that there's a lot of offense coming back. Brand new coordinators on both sides of the football. NC State is marked for a bowl. And NC State fans, you will be playing in a baseball stadium in the Pinstripe Bowl in Wisconsin. Or against Wisconsin, not in Wisconsin. The Yankees don't play in Wisconsin. NC State and Wisconsin. Duke Blue Devils fans. And listen up and listen closely, East Carolina fans. You will be meeting, according to CBS Sports, in the Fenway Bowl, which suggests that your trajectories with coaches that have not changed from season to season, although you will say that Blake Harrell did change at ECU, but it was a midseason change, and he led them to a bowl game last year in the Military Bowl and a win over NC State. The Fenway Bowl in Boston, yet another baseball stadium. Duke and ECU. For those of you who are listening in Wilmington and earshot of Coastal Carolina, you will be not traveling very far, apparently. Coastal Carolina slated to meet in the Myrtle Beach Bowl, really. From Conway to Conway.
Myrtle Beach Bowl.
You'd be taking on South Florida.
Oh, boy.
So I wanted to cover all those bases. Unfortunately, App State fans, I don't see you on this list anywhere.
Oh, no.
If you're a Syracuse fan, again, ACC team, you're Sun Bowl bound. If you're a Florida State fan, you're going to be getting doused in mayo in the Mayo Bowl against Tennessee. And Georgia Tech will be playing in a bowl too, as will SMU. The one team I did not mention, the one team that I left out of this conversation, will no longer be left out of this conversation. North Carolina. North Carolina, Tar Heels fans, football fans, take solace. There is one group of people at CBS Sports who believes that you will be playing, that you will be bowl eligible. You're the one team with a brand new coach that I mentioned, the one team, and you will be playing in the Military Bowl against Tulane. There is one group that believes Bill Belichick will be leading you to a bowl game. It is not the sexiest bowl game by any means, as State fans will let you know. The Military Bowl does not have a great history with the Wolfpack, at least recent history. But North Carolina, CBS Sports believes that you are going to win at least 6 football games in the next season, regardless of what's going on. And that is the goal, right? The goal is to play in the postseason. Now, Carolina, you're like, wait a second. We were in a bowl game last year, too. Yeah, you didn't win that one. It's okay. It's okay. They believe under a new coaching regime from Mac Brown to Bill Belichick that you will be playing in a bowl game. So now you have to go looking for 6 wins. And the crazy part about it is that it doesn't feel like it's a very difficult hunt. Now, this is going to piss some people off, very specifically for those in earshot of Charlotte, because UNC is playing Charlotte on September 6th at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, which, by the way, tomorrow is hosting a monster soccer game. A football match.
Right, a football.
A football match between Benfica and Chelsea, which that'll be a banger, by the way. But if they can't get past TCU in the opener on Labor Day night, they should be able to get a dub against Charlotte and UNC on a Friday night in Charlotte. And then they have the Richmond Spiders the next week. So now I'm looking at 2 wins. UCF doesn't seem like such a big hill to climb, although it could be with Scott Frost back at the helm there. So now maybe I'm 2-2. And then I have Clemson coming here. And Clemson coming to Chapel Hill. And Clemson, I just said mere minutes ago, was an ACC rep that was going to get a first-round bye in the college football playoff. Now, that's not just me. That's CBS Sports. But I'm looking for 6 wins, Heels fans. I'm looking for 6 wins. And it doesn't feel like that hard of a hill to climb. Cal, in complete disarray. Everybody left that team in the offseason. Virginia, trying to put a new quarterback in that system there. You never know what you're going to get with Virginia. And you also have Stanford. Stanford being led by former Carolina Panthers head coach Frank Reich. And he's only there for 1 year. So what is he going to establish in 1 year at Stanford? Probably nothing. And he's coming here. 2 former NFL coaches coaching in the same game on November 8th. So now I've got 5 wins, at least 5 wins on the schedule there. Because I'm like, okay, let's just chalk TCU up to an L, Clemson to an L, and perhaps Syracuse is kind of an either or. So I'm still teetering on 6. Maybe I have 6. Maybe I'm just looking for that capper to 7 to make sure that I get in no matter what. Those last 3 games of the season, Carolina fans, Wake Forest, Duke, and State.
Wow.
And I only need 1 out of those 3 games.
I can see it happen.
And I can see it happening too,
Mm-hmm.
depending on the trajectory, because you have a brand new first-year head coach at Wake. Duke, you are hosting at home. And State, the big wild card, throw all the records out. That could be a 40-28 game or a 3-2 shootout.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But someone out there believes that the North Carolina Tar Heels are bowl eligible without having seen them take 1 snap on a football field, without head coach Bill Belichick naming a starting quarterback, without seeing 1 play get run. They are going to a bowl game. That should be something you need to hang on to for the next 5 weeks before camp opens up.
Yes. Think of that instead of his girlfriend, Jordan Hudson.
I'm not thinking about that at all.
Unless she was the one that made that rumor. maybe she
really
she wrote
that she's the one that made the CBS Sports pick that said they were going to make a bowl game.
She paid them off.
Oh my goodness. Oh. That's Victoria. Paul Eihander in for Adam Gold today here on the Adam Gold Show. Coming up next, Victoria's going to dissect this crazy head of mine and some one-timers. It's on the way.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
At North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, you're more than a policy, you're family. With offices in every county, we're close by when it matters most. Our local agents customize coverage to fit your life. And our award-winning claims team delivers fast, quality repairs. It's no surprise Forbes ranked us the #1 auto insurer in America. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon, you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell, and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Every parent wants their child to grow up healthy and strong, especially if they have a special medical need. And when my son Maddox was born with a rare neurological disorder, private insurance wouldn't cover his care. But Medicaid stepped in, and now Maddox can go to school and have a future of his own. My name is Ashley, and I'm speaking up to protect NC Medicaid.
Learn more at ncchild.org/speakup. That's ncchild.org/speakup.
Healthcare? Why?
Why is it so hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
All of us have a role to play in promoting a mental health friendly workplace. Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
This is Adam Gold.
He said he could talk about his golf game. He did say it wasn't great, and I said, hey, no judgment here. I'm a drive shacker and a putt-putter myself.
None of us are good. Even those of us that are good aren't really good.
Right, yeah.
We're just not.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
Oh, Chumbawamba.
Right?
The album was called Tub Thumping.
Exactly. This is one of those songs where I'm sure for trivia, they're like, who sings this? What's its name? And half of them are like, I have no clue.
I'm good at music trivia, but not great. And this is coming from someone who's worked in music formats and sports and talk formats. I worked at a video store too, so like my movie trivia's pretty much on point.
Nice.
But every once in a while, you unearth those gems, and that's one of them. That is the epitome of what hit wonder for sure.
Yes.
Paul Ihander in for Adam Gold today. Appreciate Adam let me fill in. Paul, P-A-U-L, by the way. I say that fast a little bit from time to time, and I want to make sure that I enunciate.
Oh, yeah.
I have a tendency to speak a little bit quick when I fill in for Adam because it is a long show, and I realize I could slow my pacing down a little. So Paul Ihander in for Adam Gold. Victoria Vodenecker is here as well. And I suppose it's time for some one-timers.
Okay, like I like to remind people, if you have a one-timer, you can put it on the YouTube stream and I will see it there, or you can at me on the Twitter. And we do have a couple from YouTube.
Okay.
So first up, are there any solid trade rumors about the Canes currently?
Solid trade rumors. I don't know if there are solid trade rumors when it comes to the Canes. Let me check my notes here, because I did talk a bit about this during my morning show. The one that's been floated out there, and maybe it's for assets, but it's going to have to happen quick. That's the whole bit. Like, any deal that gets done between the Carolina Hurricanes and any other team, they have to do it, like, now. It has to be done now before free agency starts, because then everything kind of resets at that point. It doesn't prohibit them from doing anything, but it's possible. There's two narratives being pushed out there right now. Rasmus Andersson with Calgary, Anderson with Calgary seems to still have a little bit of traction. Now that there's a Rasmus Anderson defenseman, Calgary would be a top-line guy, right-handed shot, last year of a contract, being paid about $4.5 million. This would cost the Carolina Hurricanes probably a prospect and a pick. Most likely, that's about what the cost would be. Doesn't seem like a real heavy lift. A lot of that seems to be pushing. There's a little bit more momentum in that aspect because of Noah Dobson. Noah Dobson right now, defenseman for the Islanders. The Islanders have the number 1 pick tonight in the NHL draft. Will go defenseman. And the Islanders have said it's going to be one or the other. We're going to sign a defenseman, but we're not probably going to pay for Dobson if we can. So the Dobson trade rumors are out there. One of those rumors has him going to Columbus. And Columbus is also in the market for a defenseman and has been mentioned in the Anderson stakes as well. So if the Carolina Hurricanes would do anything, the thought would be for Anderson in Calgary. And just a couple of days ago in the Calgary Sun, the analysts there that write about hockey suggested that Carolina would be a good trade partner for Calgary in that aspect of things. So when you talk about that, that seems to be the one that still has a little bit of traction when it comes to the Canes. There is an article out there that I read this morning about Erik Karlsson of the Pittsburgh Penguins coming here. That would involve a little bit more salary. Again, top right-handed shot, plays like 85 minutes a night, no joke, and has been healthy for the last 3 years. Has not missed a game for the Penguins. Penguins are looking to offload some salary as they try to rebuild with everything that's not named, or everything that is named Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin. So there's one out there, but I'm not sure if Eric Tulsky has the stomach for that one.
Yeah. Well, next up,
Okay.
we've got one from Chris. Oh, but first, there was a question. When is the draft starting? It's tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
There you go. So you can answer some of these.
But Chris, he wants
Chris?
to know. He says, Robertson for Kokaniemi and their pick back. How likely do you see this happening?
Can I say that would be fantastic?
Mm-hmm.
I would be all about that. If Jason Robertson is he's a above average to very good player. There's no doubt about it. He brings an essence to the ice. He's got a charisma to it. He plays explosive hockey. But it feels like every time we propose a trade and Carolina Hurricanes fans propose a trade, it's always kind of this one-sided play. And last year, it was all about Marty Necas. What can we get for Marty Necas that nobody else will get for it? And everyone's like, Connor Bedard! Macklin Celebrini. We were asking for a lot of things and still like, well, we could grease it a little bit with a pick. Remember, the picks that the Carolina Hurricanes hold aren't exactly the greatest.
Yes.
They are late first-round opportunities. And we talked about it early in the program. When it comes to a pick that the Carolina Hurricanes are going to make, and most teams make at the end of the first round, especially in a light draft, and maybe the 26th draft is better. Again, I'm not the guy to ask about elite prospects and guys that are skating in Quebec juniors or the Western Hockey League or wherever they're playing right now. But could that happen? Yes. Is it likely? Probably not. Would I love for that to happen? You betcha.
Mm-hmm.
If I could, and I'm not advocating unloading Jesperi Kokaniemi, but let's be honest, the production isn't there, and even Rod wants to see more production out of that specific position. So would I like it for that to happen? Absolutely. The likelihood? Probably not. Dallas doesn't want to get fleeced again, and that feels like a fleecing from the Carolina Hurricanes.
Big time. Well, next up from Matthew.
Hi, Matthew.
What
What's
do you
up?
think happens to two of the Hurricanes' more notable unrestricted free agents, Jack Roslovic and Tyson Jost?
Tyson Jost would be a good depth piece for the Carolina Hurricanes. Again, is it worth running him back in the system? He plays with a little bit of edge, and he's familiar, right? He's a warm hug, good cup of coffee. Jost would be a good grab for the Carolina Hurricanes. Again, depth piece. They just signed Uyaska for a depth piece a couple days ago. Jost feels like that same kind of guy, right? He's going to sit in the press box. He's going to come in when you got guys hurt. I hate saying that. That's what it is. The NHL is built on guys like that. It is not a bad thing. It is a red badge of courage, especially when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes. Roslovic is a different kind of bit. He will find himself a role I bet you he signs somewhere, not with the Canes. I bet you he signs somewhere probably for 2 or 3 seasons. Not a Steph Nason kind of deal. I wish the Carolina Hurricanes would have paid for Steph Nason and gave him the money, considering they did the exact same kind of money for Roslovic. I would love to have Nason come back. Roslovic can score, though. 3rd line, 4th line guy. He will land somewhere else as a center, probably more like a winger, to be honest, because he does score goals and does have some power play opportunities. That first half of the season is going to earn him a payday. It just won't come with the Carolina Hurricanes. All right, I've got one for you.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So I've got one for you. So the boxing world's going to go this weekend with Jake Paul and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He's been accused of like not fighting the big tough guys and not fighting real opponents. But Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is a guy, and I just took a bet on this one.
Yeah.
I have Paul actually, and it's a great bet on FanDuel, by the way, knockout in any of the first 6 rounds. Do you think this one actually goes that kind of distance? And does it feel like Jake Paul at this point, he's just Mr. Exhibition?
Yeah, I mean, if he's fighting, I wish I could say I knew more about Julio than I do, but
he had a title at one point.
See, and that's the thing is, if he's a legit fighter, then I would say Jake Paul's in trouble. I could see him getting knocked out because there's been a couple times where he was fighting one of the Fury brothers.
Yep.
And
the Under Fury, the Tommy Fury.
Yes, exactly. The semi-real boxer.
Right.
And he got rocked by a couple of those. So to have real force behind it, I could see him getting knocked out, and I hope he does. We also have UFC 317 this weekend. I'm so excited.
It is a long.
It's gonna be so good.
It is a long, strange trip when it comes to prize fighting. There's no doubt about it. Hey, appreciate all the one-timers. I'm glad to be able to be a part of that and lend a little bit of hockey knowledge at all of you. All right, we got plenty more show coming your way. Paul Ihender in for the Adam Gold Show today. Appreciate all of you hanging out. If you have the opportunity, hang out with us some more.
From the heels,
touchdown Carolina,
to the Canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
WakeMed Brain and Spine wants to stop strokes in their tracks. If you think someone is having a stroke, use the acronym BE-FAST and assess these functions. B, balance. Do they have trouble walking? E, eyes. Are they having trouble seeing? F, face. Does their smile droop? A, arms. Ask the person to raise their arms and notice if one drifts down. S, speech. Is it slurred? And T, time. It is important. Call 911 and get to the hospital as quickly as you can. To check your stroke risk assessment, visit wakemed.org.
This summer, the world's game comes to Charlotte. Bank of America Stadium will host epic round of 16 matchups on Saturday, June 28th and Monday, June 30th. Teams will be revealed soon, but one thing's clear, you won't want to miss this. Be there when it happens. Grab your tickets now at FIFA.com/tickets. Bank of America Stadium. The world is watching.
That's the sound of a Mountain Dew. And that's you enjoying its refreshing citrus kick. That's a cool breeze suddenly whistling through your hair.
Whoa!
That's you realizing you're now on a mountain.
This is epic!
That's you stating the obvious.
Mountain Dew!
Do the Dew.
Hurry into Family Fare and get 2 20-ounce bottles of ice-cold Mountain Dew for just $4.29. Family Fare, first in thirst.
The Peace Lily is so last year.
Hey, has anyone worked with fiddlenecks?
Shelby's popular flower shop is in full bloom.
We just got a request for an arrangement that evokes air. Who's up for that challenge? No?
She needs to hire a floral designer to nip foliage faux pas in the bud.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our advanced matching helps find talented candidates so you can connect with them fast. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code YEAR to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
We don't want you on our team.
You're not the right fit for this job.
You're too slow and fast.
Don't you care how you look?
Weight bias hurts. Go to stopweightbias.com. A public service message from Obesity Action Coalition.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
Get in the hole!
That's ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
And now you're talking about taking two guys who spent 5 years in college, Sion James, Ryan Kalkbrenner. Both can get the job done defensively, which, of course, we know the Hornets need work on the defensive end of the floor. So I like both of these picks going after guys who understand the right mindset. And you have Kalkbrenner and Sion James walking into the locker room. They're older than the superstars. They're older than Brandon Miller.
Yeah, they are. There's no doubt about it. NBA draft is done. 2 days at the Barclays Center, 59 picks. Charlotte Hornets did pretty well, no doubt about it. Ryan Kalkbrenner, Sion James, second rounders yesterday. Yeah, they did okay. They did okay. We'll see if they get developed correctly, though. I think that's going to be the bigger issue. If Charles Lee can get that team going and they can win more than 19 basketball games a season.
Yeah.
You can draft well.
Yeah, right.
Drafting well is simple, but what you do with those draft picks will be key moving forward.
Always. And it's good for the Hornets to have safe. I know people like to say con safe. That's not a bad thing. They need safe.
They do. They do indeed. Paul Ihander here in for Adam Gold. Appreciate all of you hanging out with me. I appreciate Adam letting me fill in for him. Those of you not familiar with my game, get familiar. I host a show in Raleigh on the Adam Gold Show flagship station, 99.9 The Fan in Raleigh, called Next Up every morning at 9 o'clock. And I appreciate Adam letting me fill in. Victoria Vodenecker, the voice you always hear, is our one constant, our rock, our North Star for today's program. It is a Friday for sure, last Friday of the month of June. Appreciate all of you hanging out with us. And for those of you on YouTube, I'm leaning a little bit on the desk before we get into the wall of sound here. Just got word, and this is news, that will affect the Carolina Hurricanes for sure. John Tavares has re-signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Tavares got an extension, 4 years, $4.38 million a year, which now means the center market in free agency, unrestricted free agency, is poof.
Yeah.
I suppose you could go down and get the Sam out of Florida. Probably not going to happen. So if the Carolina Hurricanes want a center, need a center, and we just did one-timers in our last hour. If they want a center and need a center, and they want something of quality, that second-line center or first-line center, it will be done via trade. It will be done via trade.
Which could happen.
It is a thin group now when it comes to unrestricted free agents. And for the teams that are willing to deal their centers, the unfortunate part about this one is, and damn you, Brad Trevilling, signing John Tavares, Brad Treliving, I couldn't get his name right. Tavares setting the market at 4.38 and re-signing means that some friendly deals got done. Jamie Benn signed yesterday with Dallas. Friendly deal there. Yeah. So unless you're going to throw a truckload of money at Brad Marchand, and I'm not sure he's the answer at center, you will, Mr. Tulsky, Eric Tulsky, general manager of the Carolina Hurricanes. You and I need to go find that envelope that I know is tucked somewhere in your office with a bunch of names on it, and you need to break that bad boy open and crack it, a la Crimson Tide. And we are going to read the authenticator codes together, Alpha, Bravo, Delta, Zeta, Gamma. And you will repeat Alpha, Bravo, Delta. See, I haven't lost the authenticator codes. We're going to trade. You were going to make a trade.
Yeah.
All right. John Tavares, 4 years, $4 million plus AAV, staying with Toronto, and so that free agent center market drying up very quickly of top-end talent.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Wall of Sound. Woo! Wall of Sound coming your way. All right, let's start with Caitlin Clark in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark sat out last night's game, lost to the Los Angeles Sparks. She's dealing with a leg or a groin thing or something. And unfortunately, Caitlin Clark is quickly becoming the face of the WNBA. Does she want to be the face of the WNBA? She doesn't get a choice. Caitlin Clark, you are the face of the WNBA. A lot of people hating on that for sure. Paige Beckers, top pick in this year's WNBA draft, now plays for the Dallas Wings. Tonight, the Dallas Wings are playing the Indiana Fever. This was supposed to be a matchup of the two top young players in the WNBA. May or may not happen. Paige Beckers, when asked about Caitlin Clark and the pressure that is on Caitlin Clark, called it inhumane.
She handles it with grace, and the pressure that she's put on every single night to perform at the level that she does, it's inhumane, really, like to expect people to be perfect and to not have off games or off nights. And if she doesn't go like 8 for 10 from 3, like, people are questioning things. It's unfair to have to deal with that, but I'm sure she has like a great team around her and great people to help her. And I know she's a great person at dealing with it and just tuning out the noise and just continue to be there for herself and for her team. But the expectations, and it's tough when you listen to it, so I'm sure she has a great way of tuning it up.
I'm sorry, wait, what? Inhumane? Caitlin Clark? Inhumane? The pressure on Caitlin Clark is inhumane. Caitlin Clark has a State Farm commercial.
She does.
Of which the State Farm guy is totally... And why is that ringing? That is the weirdest thing. Someone's trying to call me.
It's State Farm.
I'm going to
hang
up. It could be Jake from State Farm. He found me. He doesn't want me talking trash about Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
Jake from State Farm is watching.
I'm so sorry.
Literally not even propped up by anybody else, selling out arenas.
Yes.
In college, raising the level of sport over the past season in her rookie year, where they are moving games. The WNBA is moving games to larger venues because of Caitlin Clark. Television ratings are up because of Caitlin Clark, and the pressure on her is inhumane. I'm not quite sure. I think she understood what she was signing up for. And I met Asia Wilson. Asia Wilson in her second year. Asia Wilson was named Rookie of the Year. Please quit calling me Jake from State Farm. You've got to be kidding me. And I'm going to turn that down so that never happens again. Boy, I lost my train of thought very quickly. Caitlin Clark has single-handedly set women's basketball on fire. But I met Asia Wilson, a woman who is also a high-level athlete, who's getting paid a lot of money, who also has commercials as well.
Yeah.
Like, isn't this what brings women's basketball to the forefront? Isn't this what brings the good attention? And if there is criticism of Caitlin Clark going 1 for 10 or 2 for 10 or whatnot, that's a good thing. That means we are treating her like a professional athlete.
And we care.
And that we care about her performance. And that we are critical of her struggles. And that the focus, Paige Beckers, on women's basketball isn't about how hot you are, but it's about performance on the court. I would not call that inhumane. I would call that, kind of equal when it comes to criticism. And you should be able to take that criticism. And it doesn't come dripping with sexism, where it comes with, oh, she can't shoot. She's a woman. She's too frail. It comes with, she shot 1 of 10 from the field. What's wrong? Is it defense that's getting in her face? Is it that she's struggling with her shot? Is she battling through injury? It's not the fact that she is a woman shooting 1 for 10. See, this is where you can't have both. This is where that is not inhumane. That is people calling it as it is. That she is shooting like hot garbage. And that other teams should be taking advantage of that. And Paige Beckers, you are playing Caitlin Clark tonight. And Paige Beckers, I love your game. I love your game. You're aggressive. You find your own shots. But this is off. This is one thing I disagree with you completely. We cannot ask for us to treat women's basketball the same as men's basketball or other sports if we are not allowed to criticize the performance. We know that you are not perfect. But we also know that when you are perfect, that comes with praise at the same time. And it can't always be sunshine, unicorns, and lollipops. That's not inhumane. That's just us calling the baby ugly. I'm not saying she's a baby. I'd like to call the baby ugly.
Right.
Not every child is pretty when they are born.
They're not. Sometimes they look like aliens.
They sometimes look like aliens. All right, let's move on, shall we? Cooper Flagg, who is now, and a lot was made of his teammates at Montverde Academy. He played with 4 guys from Montverde Academy. He played with 4 other guys. 4 guys from Montverde Academy team, the team that he played on, all got drafted in the NBA. 4 teammates he played on, the starting 5 of Duke, all play now in the NBA. Every one of them got drafted. ESPN's Myron Metcalf hoping that Cooper is allowed to develop the right way.
I think Cooper is mature. I think Cooper is a guy who can make an impact no matter the circumstances, and playing next to 2 All-Stars gives you a chance to be a part of a winning team, which is all he knows. So I think the ceiling is very high as well. I just hope Cooper gets a chance to develop the way every rookie I think should be allowed to develop. I just don't think he'll get the same runway that he would get if he were playing for the Wizards, where it'd be like, oh, you're with the Wizards. Just score 22 a game. Like you said, LaMelo. LaMelo is 20 points, 9 assists, and then he's at the club. Like, that's his career. But if you put him on a contending team early in his career, imagine what we would have said about LaMelo if he had played for a good team early in his career. We would have seen those mistakes on a whole different level. And I think that's the part where Cooper Flagg won't get that same luxury that most top picks enjoy.
Flagg will be able to step in and be Cooper Flagg. They need him to be Cooper Flagg. Pass the ball. Distribute the ball. Run good, run good screen. Put up good screens. Run through the post the way you know how and cut hard. That's it. That's what he can do. And he's just shown that. He did that a couple of years ago at U.S. Olympic training camp. He didn't have to shoot the basketball against pros. And that's the thing. I think we all know this and we understand this, that it is a much different situation. He's already held himself up against professional athletes. Like, I don't think the bar has to be lowered for Cooper Flagg. I think that's the other thing, too. Like, no one needs to lower the bar for him, even though he's going to be playing with an Anthony Davis and a Klay Thompson and a Derek Lively and a Kyrie Irving. We don't have to lower the bar for Cooper Flagg. If anything, it should be elevated because he is playing with better players. But the mistakes will be amplified. There's no doubt about it when it comes to Cooper Flagg. Those mistakes will be pinpointed, and it'll be said, this is the one thing he did wrong here. This is the other thing that he did wrong here. But I think if you will understand, and having watched him for a full year here in North Carolina playing for the Duke Blue Devils, as that he is the most critical of himself, and that he holds himself to that high standard too. So I'm not worried about him being to be honest, given the right situation or being allowed to develop the right way. I think he'll force that upon himself. But the mistakes that he makes will be elevated and be highlighted because of who he is playing around and not because of who he is.
And it's good that he has those vets around him, too, to help shape him into a better professional baller. Like, he's got a great skill set right now, but having those vets around him to kind of help, ease in the transition, because he's still like 18.
He is 18.
He's fresh 18.
Yeah, right. He's only been able to buy scratchers for a couple of months.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think he'll be good. But people are going to criticize the number one pick regardless of the sport.
There is an expectation that comes with being number one. There's no doubt about it. And being the third number one pick to come out of Duke in the last 7 years, every 3 years, someone from Duke goes number one. Zion, Banchero, and now Cooper Flagg. Paul Weihander in for Adam Gold today. Victoria is here as always. Coming up next, we've been talking about the changing face of college sports and the changing atmosphere and how it's a little bit more of a business. But it's not just about the Power Fours and the Group of Fives and whatnot. Some of this NIL era stuff, some of this transfer portal stuff goes all the way down to the community college level. And we have a lot of them here in the Carolinas. We'll talk about that coming up next on The Adam Gold Show.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
With free agency coming up, I don't know a lot about economics, but I know this. When there's a little supply, it's going to make the demand high. There's not many centers out there, and the Canes need one, so just be prepared for this. Either you're going to get a player you like, but the cost is going to be too much, or you're going to get a player you don't like, but you'll like the cost. You can't have it all.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. Let me talk to you quickly about questionable decisions. Questionable decisions like having prospective Cy Young Award winners in each league pitching in the same doubleheader, but not pitching against one another. I mean, why would you want that matchup? What are we doing? It's just like paying closing costs when you don't have to when you get your mortgage. That's right. Gordon Miller invented the no closing cost mortgage so you could save thousands of dollars, then have the freedom to refinance free of charge when the rates came down. And they will. Look, if you pay closing costs, you are telling the world that you don't believe rates will be lower within an 8-year period, because that's the break-even point. Don't ever pay closing costs. Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road in Cary since 1996. MillerLending.com online. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 2502146.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.
This summer, the world's game comes to Charlotte. Bank of America Stadium will host epic round of 16 matchups on Saturday, June 28th and Monday, June 30th. Teams will be revealed soon, but one thing's clear. You won't want to miss this. Be there when it happens. Grab your tickets now at FIFA.com/tickets. Bank of America Stadium. The world is watching.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets, choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bow Time.
Every success you've had began with a great opportunity. Now there's another one. Last aid year, University of Maryland Global Campus awarded over $21 million in scholarships to qualified students, including community college students, service members, veterans, and working adults. Now is the time to move your career forward with an online and accredited skills-based education. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
This is Adam Gold.
You know, soap attracts dirt, right? That's what soap does. It attracts dirt. Right now, Bill Belichick is soap. That's what he is.
Yeah.
He's soap.
Yeah.
He's attracting all this dirt.
Or he's like an overripe banana and it's attracting all these gnats.
The Adam Gold Show.
Okay. Whoa. Let me let your light shine down. I can't remember the name of the band, though. Victoria. I can't remember the name of the band.
Yep, this is another one of those. Do you want me to tell you?
Hold on. Paul Eihander in for Adam Gold today. Victoria is here as well, as always. I can't remember.
Collective Soul.
Collective Soul.
I know, it's one of those where
Dang
you're like,
it.
oh, I knew it.
Dang it. Sometimes you need the answers, and sometimes you can't find them. That is unfortunate. You know, there's a lot of answers that need to be figured out when it comes to NIL and payments that are being made to athletes, especially those who, you know, don't quite qualify for those scholarships or can't quite get to that next level of competition. They have the skills and they still want to play, but there's no spaces. Well, there's always going to be spaces at the community college level. And the National Junior College Athletic Association is one of those things, one of those places where athletes can play. But a lot of the things they have to deal with they have to find a little bit more creative when it comes to funding solutions. And we know that when it comes to things like facility upgrades, when it comes to things like uniforms, when it comes to things like just paying coaches and whatnot, it can be a challenge at lower levels. They don't quite have the funding sources that you would hope that they would have. And there's money out there, and we know that if you've got big boosters and big donors and whatnot, that it's easy for that money to get funneled to the bigger schools. We know this. State, Carolina, App State, Virginia, South Carolina, those schools, when it comes to collectives and funding and things like that, when it comes to fundraising and resources, it's very easy to tap into those. But for the junior colleges and the community colleges that litter the state, and we have 20 of them in North Carolina, it's a little bit more challenging when it comes to pulling up that funding. Joining us here on the Adam Gold Show, he is the Regional 10 Commissioner for the NJCAA based out of Charlotte, Lynn Hartzell joining us. Lynn, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me, Paul.
Hey, Lynn, so I bring you on as I kind of set it up a little bit. When it comes to the funding solutions and NIL and community colleges and junior colleges, you kind of are the backbone when it comes to athletes, especially here in North Carolina and the Carolinas, for them to continue their educations. But in a lot of cases, there's just not a lot of money to go around. And for you, it's always going to be a challenge.
Absolutely. And we've had to get very creative. Our presidents have had to get very creative on continuing to fund athletics. We're funded at about a 50% rate of what we were 8 or 10 years ago because of our funding model. The costs have gone up, there's always fundraising and that stuff to do. But with the state money out, with gambling tax money, we know it's going to universities, going to high schools, and it should be. But we just want to be a part of that equation where, our community colleges can get some of that money to better create opportunities for our student athletes, which is only going to be growing in the future with what's happening at the NCAA Division I schools with the reduced rosters over time.
Yeah, the roster limits that are going to be put into place here very soon, at least gradually put into place here, starting in just a few days, will certainly affect enrollment. Certainly, the Power Four will have fewer spots. The Group of Five will have fewer spots. That will eventually trickle down to the community college level, which it's not about necessarily, at least where I sit, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's not really about having to recruit too many athletes to play at the community college level. I understand the value of a junior college education. I have a degree from a junior college before I went to a four-year university. I did not play sports, though. My wife, though, did, and she took that route where she was able to get some experience at the community college level, but that also came with not necessarily a full ride, a full scholarship, and I know that's challenging for the scores of schools that you represent in trying to make sure that there's an education but also some sort of incentive to come there and actually play sports.
Absolutely. And, we've got letter of intent limits just like the NCAA does, not to the level that the NCAA just created for Division I, but the majority of our student athletes who sign letter of intent are not getting any money for it. It just binds them to the school that they sign with. So the majority of our student athletes are paying all out of pocket to go to school, to live off campus, to buy food. It is a big challenge, and it's going to be even more challenging with an influx of potential student athletes that are going to be looking to go the junior college route going forward.
Lynn Hartzell joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. He's the Regional 10 Commissioner for the NJCAA. We have 20 community colleges here in North Carolina, mostly public, just one private, Lewisburg College just up the street from us. I got Wake Tech just down the street from our studios, main studios here in Raleigh. When you talk to your athletic directors, you talk to these college presidents and whatnot, what's the one thing that always comes up in conversation with them?
Well, it is funding. It goes back to that. It will probably scare you to see how some of our teams travel. We don't have, at our community colleges, not one school has a full-time athletic trainer. That's going to be a more point of emphasis going forward. And you would like to increase your scholarships, but again, you're just worried about operating, having an operating budget that'll get you through the season. And, we really don't want ADs or presidents to say, hey, we want to put plaques in our trophy case, but we want them to be silver, which means runner-up. We don't want you to win it. Then we got to spend more money on you advancing in the postseason. That's not the mindset that we want.
So, Lynn, what are the options for you then, as a commissioner, and you hear these concerns, and obviously you feel that you want a piece of the sports gambling tax money, but if you can't get some of that, then where's the grassroots support have to come from? Obviously, the communities where these community colleges are coming from, but you can only tap them so hard.
Correct. And it's tough for us. It's easier for a high school because those are all local kids. Not all of our rosters at our community colleges are local kids. You got to find the right fit. You're going to go out and try to get the best you can. What I'm afraid we'll eventually see is a reduction in sports at the community colleges that we have now, which is not the route we want to go. We already had one school who reduced down their sports offerings by half a couple of years ago, and I'm afraid that's going to be the next step unless something can be done.
And I know community colleges, again, I went to a JC. My wife went to a JC before she earned a scholarship at a four-year school. I mean, good stepping stones and things like that. But when you look at community colleges and you see some of the success stories that come out with it, it's not just that success when it comes to on the field. Like Paul Gervais just made his debut, Wake Tech pitcher, made his debut for Tampa. So we know success stories come out of this way. But it's also success, I believe, for you, within just kind of the economic boundaries of these colleges. Like without having some of these athletes come to school, without having some of these programs, the communities where these colleges are kind of lose some of the, that hometown feel or some of that community spirit that comes along with being part of a college or university system.
Absolutely. And I will say one thing about Paul real quick. Not only was he's a Wake Tech alumni, he's a Pitt Community College alumni as well. So he kind of double-barreled the community college thing in North Carolina. But, it is a big impact on our local economies for the schools that we have. 13 of our 20 schools are in municipalities under 50,000 people. So our student athletes renting houses or apartments, buying food at the grocery store, buying food at restaurants, buying gas. It's an economic stimulus that people don't really think about to that small local community. And as I've said before, If a community college loses their athletic department, they're not going to shut the town down, but that community is going to feel it. And, you know, from a political sense, we are about economic development.
Education is key, no doubt about it. Sports is education is great. Sports is the add-on, and I think sports is the one thing that bridges people together, which is why we're talking to you this afternoon. Lynn Hartzell joining us here on the Adam Gold Show, Regional 10 Commissioner for the NJCAA, National Junior College Athletic Association. And Lynn, before we let you go, I know the goal here is to raise a little bit of awareness. You obviously funding challenges for a lot of schools and funding challenges for a lot of people. That's just the world we live in. But at that grassroots level, what can folks do? I'm like, is it lobby their representatives to see if they can, hey, listen, community colleges deserve just as much as our larger schools throughout this state? Is it about, hey, just get out there and go to a game, buy a booster club membership, or make sure you buy the barbecue plate at the next game you go to?
Well, and what we found out, and this is not, minimalizing what we do, but if you go to one of our games, most of our games, it's immediate family, boyfriend, girlfriend, that's who comes to game. You don't really get the local flavor like you might in a high school. So we realize that. Some of our successful programs, they're not selling gyms or fields out, and we understand that. The biggest turnaround for us is, getting to be part of the gambling tax money that, is being sent elsewhere. And again, those other entities are very deserving of that money, but, we hold a special place in North Carolina as well, and we just want to better put ourselves and the student athlete with the opportunities forward to give them a good experience, both academically and athletically.
Lynn Hartzell, NJCAA Regional 10 Commissioner, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Lynn, appreciate you checking in with us. Appreciate the time, and I appreciate the education and what community colleges are trying to do here throughout North Carolina, not just with the education, but also in the sports world as well.
All right. Thanks for having me, Paul. Y'all have a good weekend.
All right, Lynn. Appreciate you. Lynn Hartzell, NJCAA Regional 10 Commissioner. This is one of those soft spots for me, Victoria. I have a degree from a junior college. I understand that value. There's a song, I believe the lyric is, I got the discount knowledge from the junior college. I have that. I have a 4-year degree as well. I went the untraditional route.
Same.
So to speak. Okay, so you understand where we're at. And I have many family members who did the same thing. We did the 2-year JC, and I have a lot of friends too. We all went to junior college. We all stepped up, went to different schools, got 4-year degrees. It's this, math is math. Science is science. Sports is still sports. And I see a lot of local kids going to community colleges all around the state of North Carolina. And there are 4-year schools. I mean, we have a state system of schools too that all benefits from that as well. I think if there's a right thing to do here, and I will be a big advocate. If I can jump on this train, and I did not realize this, like this was brought to my attention. If I can jump on this train and be an advocate for community colleges to get some of that gambling money, that sports gambling money, of which I endorse. I endorse it. I bet. We're going to do a segment here talking about betting here in a little bit during the show. If I could be an advocate for that, and I could speak directly to those representatives and senators throughout the state of North Carolina, don't just think about those 4-year schools anymore. Think about these 2-year schools where, let's be honest, some of your neighbors and some of your neighbors' kids are going to these schools and they're playing sports. They are playing baseball. They are playing softball. They're playing football. There's football being played at the community college level. There are men's and women's basketball teams. There are golf teams that are at these schools. There's esports. Like, there are opportunities that are being granted, not necessarily because they don't have the skills to play at a 4-year school. They have those skills, but sometimes circumstances don't allow them to do that. Maybe they're taking care of family members. Maybe their only opportunity, because of economics, is to stay that close to home. Maybe it's that school offers, again, math is math and English is English and science is science, no matter where you get it. Maybe that's school, that community college nearest to them, is the one place that offers them the things that they need and fulfills all those other check boxes as well. So as I sit here and I grab that soapbox, and I know that's an old term, So I'm going to stand up on the chair in the middle of the room or whatever it happens to be, and I will raise my voice. And I'm just one voice. I'm just one person. But if I can appeal to the leaders of this state, that when they go back and they look, and I know there's a little bit of kind of bluster when it comes to maybe we should raise the taxes a bit more on sports gambling, and I totally understand that. I get it. Money's got to stay green, and you've tapped what seems to be like this endless supply of sports gambling dollars, which exceeded all projections and all expectations early on in the state of North Carolina. Like, we are a full year into sports gambling, and we know the tax dollars are there, and people are still betting. I'm betting on table tennis. I lost one the other day. Yes, I bet on ping pong, Victoria.
I know. That's we've had these conversations. That's your niche.
I bet on ping pong. I bet on CFL the other day.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bet on more things. I will. I'm going to be that guy.
Yeah.
If there is a way to carve out 1%, I'm talking about 1% that does not go to general fund, that goes into community colleges and gets routed that way for athletics because of the things that they face, because kids are not buying books at the bookstore. They are not representing their schools with the big sweaters or whatnot. They're selling one sweater and the rest of them are staying on the rack, and vending machines and those kinds of things that would help these colleges grow a little bit. Athletics helps colleges grow. It does put butts in seats. It puts butts in classrooms. You have a 20-person softball squad, or you have a volleyball squad, or you have an esports squad, or whatever it is. If the lawmakers of this state, and it seems like common sense, right, to help out with economic generation, if one state senator, who I've had as a guest on my program, or I haven't had as a guest on my program, or if one state representative, or if you, Lord Overlord Governor Josh Stein, is listening right now, or if one of your helpers or assistants is listening right now, and you think to yourself, how can we help this state grow or be sustainable? You have 20 community colleges in the state of North Carolina that could use your help today. And if I could peel off 1%, and that's all it is, 1%, and I'm not going to compromise on one. I'm just going to stick with one.
They wouldn't even notice.
If 1% of that could be directed to community colleges and sports, that would help them out immensely, because it's one fewer phone call a college athlete has to go out and fundraise for. It's one fewer letter that a volleyball player has to send out to their family and friends saying, hey, we really could use your help. You're not coming to my games because you live 200 miles away. Could you send $20 and join the booster club for the year? It's one fewer thing that they have to do, and they can go focus on academics. They can go focus on the actual sports and not the fundraising, because fundraising at all levels is the exact same.
Mm-hmm.
You're always asking for more, and your hands are always out. And it's even tougher at the community college level and the JC level to reach out and ask for those things, because it's a harder ask, because you've already asked for so much. You've already asked for, man, we really could use a new pair of shoes. We could really use a new backstop. We could use 12 volleyballs and whatnot. You know, there are no personalized names on the backs of uniforms at the community college level. Those uniforms get handed down and handed down and handed down. Like, the fresh threads are not there.
Mm-mm.
There's some pride that comes along with that. So 1%, I'm asking, and I'm a nobody. I'm a person with a gift of gab and skills that brought me to near fame, as my grandfather would say. But I know this is a statewide audience that comes with the Adam Gold Show, and my name is Paul Eihander, and I will stand on this. There is value to community college. There's value to junior college. There's an education that can happen there, and there's an opportunity that can be provided for those young men and women who want to play sports but are unable to do so at higher levels because of circumstances.
Yeah.
And when it comes to community college, there's always circumstances. I promise you. It was one of the reasons why I went to junior college. Circumstances. All right. Paul Eihander in for Adam Gold today. Appreciate all of you hanging out with us. Victoria is here as well. We led off by talking about Collective Soul, which I forgot. Listen, I would have failed in that band identification.
Yeah, but you'll remember it now for next time.
I will always remember that for next time. I'm trying to hit refresh here, and I'm poking around just a little teeny bit, and y'all are going to have to bear with me just a shade. The NHL, yes, it's gone through. So here it is. It is the top story. The NHL and the Players Association have agreed. This within the last 15 minutes while we were talking with Lind. They have agreed to a 4-year extension of the collective bargaining agreement that will run through the 2029-2030 season, so right up until the new decade. This was everybody. They all sat in the same room, all 4 guys, 2 of them wearing white tennis shoes, 2 of them wearing brown shoes, very good fashion choices. 4-year extension of the collective bargaining agreement. This essentially really means they're still going to have a 50-50 split of hockey-related revenue. The salary cap will continue to go up. The NHL, this has not been ratified, but this is pretty much done. The significant change will be maximum length of contracts reduced to 7 years. So a player re-signing with his current team will sign up for 7 years. Players signing with new teams as a free agent on or after July 1st can sign up to 6. So this is the last year you will see a 7-year free agent deal if you're signing with a new team and an 8-year deal if you're signing with an existing team. Also, there will now be an increase in the NHL regular season. They now bump it up to 84 games per team. That is 2 more. And the preseason schedule will be cut down from 6 to 4 games. They started this collective bargaining process for the last 14 months. It took them that long to get here. But they were well out ahead of it, which is positive because the current CBA, this is how old we are, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, theys and thems. Some of you have kids that are in 6th grade who do not know anything but labor peace. The last CBA was signed in 2013. And this was extended in 2020 and expires in 2026. This one is a 4-year extension and will take us through 2030. So labor peace in the NHL now for the last 17 years, or at least 17 years, starting in 2013, 17 years. So this is where we're coming from. This has been agreed to. It basically just needs ratification votes on both sides. The players are pretty much, they're good with this because it's an even split, and the owners are good with this because it gives them clearly one more home game where they can make cha-ching. We should play that sound. Play the sound. There you go. Makes them a little bit more money and keeps labor peace, which is good for fans, it's good for players, and it's good for the league in a world where we are just kind of me want. Everybody came together in the NHL, and we have a we want for sure. All right, Paul Ihender in for Adam Gold today. Appreciate him letting me hang out on this Friday, final Friday of June. Coming up next, we will stretch, and Lord knows I need it, and also place a few bets as well. The Adam Gold Show. Hang in there with me, folks.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
My name is Gregory, and I am the primary caregiver for our 5 grandchildren. We have worked to be a source of love and stability in their lives. And Medicaid has been a source of stability for us. Medicaid helped with all the visits to the doctor, pharmacy, dentist, orthodontist, mental health therapist, and it has helped our grandchildren grow healthy and strong. Our grandkids call me Papa or Pop Pop, and I'm speaking up to protect NC Medicaid.
Learn more at ncchild.org/speakup. That's ncchild.org/speakup.
Healthcare? Why?
Why is it so hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
We had to exit the home pretty quickly because of how quickly the water came in. It was just really vital to me whenever all the public service announcements were going out, that we needed to get our water tested.
We need to, get in the field and start helping people disinfect their water supplies.
It's really critical to their health to be able to have that safe drinking water.
They were reaching out to me to make sure that I knew that there were resources available.
NC Public Health, everywhere, every day, everyone.
This is Adam Gold.
80-second mark, I scream in the booth. I screamed in the booth. Why the heck is he still on the ice?
Did you say it in Finnish?
I should have.
Yes.
No, he wouldn't. He curses in English.
He does.
All right, 2 seconds later, he scored.
Yes.
And I went, oh, that's why. That's why.
The Adam Gold Show.
Okay, so Ram Jam Black Betty. I know this one.
Nice.
I know this one.
Yes.
Ram Jam. What a heck of a name for a band. By the way.
I know.
Right?
With their one hit.
I'm going to wait for it. Can we get there? There it is.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those you're mudding. Right? This is
right.
a mudding song.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Maybe you're down, stuck on the curve down in the fort there south of Cure Beach, and you're just coming around, you're just wheeling.
Oh, yeah.
You got the air lowered in your tires so you can get stuck in the sand.
Mm-hmm. It is a good mudding song.
It is a good mudding song. It is.
It's perfect.
Paul Eihander in for Adam Gold today. Adam Gold Show on this Friday. Victoria is the other voice you hear. As always, I suppose I won't yawn because when you yawn, other people will yawn.
It's contagious.
It is time to stretch.
Okay, so sometimes I like to kick off our stretches with, hey, remember when? So this
Remember
happened.
when? Okay. All right.
This happened 46 years ago in 1979.
Okay.
Muhammad Ali announced that he was retiring as champion.
Sting like a butterfly.
Yes.
Sting like a bee. Sorry, jeez, man, I'm tired today.
That retirement would not be final because he then came back in 1980 to fight and lose to Larry Holmes. But he at least almost retired in 1979 and probably just should have stayed retired.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Exactly.
I worked in Phoenix, Arizona for a time back in the day, and his family was, when he passed, his family was really big into Parkinson's disease, cancer centers out there and whatnot, and they were very, very philanthropic crew, and he always lent his name and just anything he could do to those things. He would all of a sudden Hey, we need an auction item for something, and all of a sudden this magical pair of gloves would just come out of nowhere and signed by Muhammad Ali. Like he understood his role when it came to history of sport and then just being a larger-than-life person.
Mm-hmm. Well, we love those athletes who try to do good. Now, China is trying to potentially do good in a weird way because I know even though it is like lava hot outside, people are still getting colds. So
Steve's lava chicken. Never mind.
So this is a good thing to potentially have.
Okay.
Now, I know robots are trying to take over the world, and China is not helping in this situation because now they want to use robots to help clear out your sinus infections.
What? You didn't even need to have that what sound. Like, what?
I know. So instead of using antibiotics, they're trying to shoot tiny little robots into your nostrils. Now, this is how they're going to do it.
Nanotech.
Well, it's funny you say that because they use nano in the name. They call them nanobot technology or microbots.
Microbots. To clear out my boogers?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Bots for your boogers.
So, I can't blow my nose? I can't do that anymore? I need to send little robots into my nose?
Oh, well, that's key to get rid of them, apparently, because these little nanobots or microbots are big enough to see under a microscope, but they're still very small. So they say each tiny little nose robot is smaller than a speck of dust and thinner than human hair. And they're programmed to wipe out bacteria.
This is freaking me out right now. I'm sorry.
I know. This is crazy.
I'm just going to start smacking the desk here and make sure there's no nanobots getting ready to go up my nose.
Yeah, don't sneeze. They're going to come out.
Ugh.
So, and it's funny because they don't have an exact amount that they would put into your nose.
Stop it. Jesus,
but
this is scaring the hell out of me.
But they call them the swarm. So a swarm of tiny robots. Now, they've tested these on animals, and it's safe.
God.
But the one thing that they haven't, like the kink that they haven't worked out yet is how to get them all the way out of your body.
Yeah, no, I totally understand the apprehension here.
You just have little random nanobots in your body just
I swear,
wandering
if do you have one more stretch thing here?
I have another one.
Okay, because if this has anything to do with like a haunted mansion or like or like someone wearing a mask that's gonna come out, like you're gonna tell me like scientists have figured out why people are scared of the dark because you should be.
Because he's real, Freddy Krueger.
Oh my God, this is the worst seventh inning stretch ever. By the way, if I want to sleep tonight.
Oh yeah, no, you're good. I've got a better one. Or I've got a calmer one. I should say.
Thank you.
A cool
Thank you.
one.
Okay.
But yes, so there's still, this is not a thing, but they are trying to say that they're about 5 to 10 years away from making this a human thing. So yeah, they just have to work out that whole like, how do you get it out of your body situation.
Gross.
So yeah, we may be trading Kleenex for robots.
No. And no.
So yeah, that's wow. China, man. All right then. But this next one, I feel like this newer generation, or maybe just people are bored and they're trying to reterm things that are already a thing and call it something different, but it's already a thing. Now, have you heard of coolcation?
No.
We have staycation, which is you stay home, you take days off,
Obvious.
and you sit, which Adam Gold's doing right now. He's not going anywhere.
Yep.
Coolcation. They're trying to say that this is when you skip going somewhere hot for a vacation and you pick a place like the mountains or a forest or somewhere like Canada or Iceland.
Did we need a term for this?
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Like, what? It's just calling you're going on vacation somewhere cool. Like,
coolcation.
A coolcation. So apparently we needed a term for that. We didn't need a term for that, so no, we didn't. But yeah, if you decide to skip the beach and go somewhere like the mountains, which you could do in this, exactly. Yeah, you got to go to the beach, sweat it out at least once a year. And then, yeah, that's what you're doing, is going on a coolcation. And last but not least, file this under, we didn't need another term for it. Phones, specifically iPhones, have a, quote, landline mode. Have you heard this?
No, I have not.
Okay, well, in a nutshell, on TikTok, someone was trying to say that you could put your phone on a landline mode where it's basically do not disturb, but it still rings. And they encourage you to put your phone away, like as if it was a landline. Turn up the volume so you're forced to get up and do that. It's literally a setting on your iPhone that they want you to also have on your Android that might be there. I don't know. But they're calling it a landline.
I tell you what, for a Friday, Victoria, you found some gems.
I know.
For
these are
seventh inning
weird.
stretch.
These are so weird. But yeah, that's a thing. If you want to turn your cell phone into a landline, then you can do that. But you know what I like to do?
What do you like to
Turn
do?
bets into winning bets.
There you go.
Place your bets, place your bets. Here. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal in Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me.
I owe you nothing.
Oh, I'm so excited for this.
Okay.
UFC 317 is this weekend. I'll start with the main event. So, Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira. Oh, this is going to be so good. Topuria is now heavier. He went up a weight class. That's going to be bad news bears, I think, for Charles. So give me Ilia Topuria to win by knockout. He's still minus 165.
Okay. I like that one. I'm going to go WNBA. WNBA. Paige Beckers tonight taking on the Indiana Fever with her Dallas Wings. 20-plus points. I made this bet 2 weeks ago, and it hit. I'm expecting it to hit again tonight. Again, entertainment purposes only, ladies and gentlemen. Paige Beckers, 20-plus points. That is plus 132.
Nice. This should be a fun one because he always brings the personality. Benel Darush Renato Money Moicano is going to be fighting. I love Money Moicano. He is hilarious, and I think he is going to be winning. So give me him by submission because he wins about half of his fights this way, plus 370.
Oh, okay. Ooh, that's a good one.
I
That's
know.
a good one. All right, I'm going to baseball. Baseball tonight. The Los Angeles Dodgers are at Kansas City tonight in some interleague play. We have an interleague play weekend. Dustin May taking the bump for the Dodgers. He is a fire bottler and has had quite the return to the new season. So Dustin May, 5 strikeouts tonight. I'm only asking for 5, plus 162 against the Royals.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
And last but not least, a prelim fight, Vivian Araujo versus Tracy Cortez. Give me Tracy Cortez to win by the points. She likes to go all round, so that's minus 190.
All right, it wouldn't be the Adam Gold Show without soccer, so a soccer parlay. I'm betting on North America to win. North America wins. USA, Mexico, and Canada all playing tomorrow and Sunday in the Gold Cup. That 3-match parlay is plus 185 if you pick North America to win. There you have it.
And why not?
Why not? Adam Gold Show, Paul Ihender in for Adam today. Victoria's here as well. Stick around. We've got more sports for you on this Friday.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Victoria with 99.9 The Fan. It's Men's Health Month, and WakeMed Heart and Vascular would like to remind you that stress and anger can have negative effect on your body, and if continued over time, can cause major problems like headache, upset stomach, insomnia, high blood pressure, and maybe even a heart attack or stroke. So take a time out, relax, take a deep breath, and walk it off. Manage your stress, and your heart will thank you. Learn more about caring for your heart at wakemed.org.
This summer, the world's game comes to Charlotte. Bank of America Stadium will host epic round of 16 matchups on Saturday, June 28th and Monday, June 30th. Teams will be revealed soon, but one thing's clear, you won't want to miss this. Be there when it happens. Grab your tickets now at FIFA.com/tickets. Bank of America Stadium. The world is watching.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and that cool, refreshing Mountain Dew. Yes, give me my good friends. Give me a dew.
Grab some ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.
Join us at Cocoa Booth Amphitheater this 4th of July. Enjoy patriotic music, kids' activities, and fireworks, all with free general admission.
With great deals coming this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th, greatness is a deal away. So if you love baking, you can get a deal on a new mixer, transforming you into the Lord of the Loaves.
Hear ye! Make way for the badding of brioche, the sultan of sourdough, the lord of the loaves, prime member Dave!
Yeah, hi?
Shop great deals this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
To some, a baby's babbling doesn't mean much, but it does. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
This is the Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's time to shut this thing down. And the only way I know to celebrate, so I'm going to have a cocktail and I'm going to salute all of you guys and wish everybody the absolute best. Right, there it is. Cheers. Again, Woodford Double Reserve. I'm getting ready to take off the headset for the last time. And I got a great wife, the best kids in the world, awesome family, great friends. I got bourbon and I got my dog. So it's time to go. Happy trails. Again, thank you. God bless. Come on, Fuller. Let's go.
The summer wind came blowing in from across the sea.
I don't want to step on it because it's a great song.
It lingered there.
But I will. Unfortunately, we do have to talk sports at some point here. Paul Wyhander in for Adam Gold today. The Adam Gold Show. Adam off. He's actually coming back. He will be back next week, I promise. But he is on a staycation. Not a coolcation, if you were with us in the last hour.
That's a thing.
But a staycation, of which he has been following everything that has been going on in the sports world. I guarantee it at home. He is probably shaking his head right now as we continue to have more news when it comes to movement in the NHL. And unfortunately for Carolina Hurricanes fans, it does come at your expense, but it also does not mean that your team is doing anything right now. The Carolina Hurricanes haven't done anything right now, today, except get ready for the draft tonight, of which they have the 29th pick. We have had two moves that have taken place since this show began earlier. Actually, three things have happened. Four. You know what? Let's circle back around and let's start brand new. Right off the top here, Cooper Flagg was just introduced in Dallas. He is now officially a Dallas Maverick. He had a press conference in front of the assembled Dallas media in which he said all the right things. That's what I'll tell you. That's what he did. The NHL has seen three things happen. The NHL has labor peace for another 4 years after the current collective bargaining agreement expires between teams and players. That will be extended by 4 years out to the year 2030. They announced that about an hour or so ago. Also an hour ago, the NHL's free agent market at the position the Carolina Hurricanes need some help at center got a little bit lighter with John Tavares re-signing with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He has a full no-movement clause in the first 2 years of a 4-year deal, and that'll be worth $4.5 million every season. So John Tavares, a potential free agent, center, does not hit the market. In the last 15 minutes, the Carolina Hurricanes are no longer in play, or were they ever in play, for defenseman Noah Dobson of the New York Islanders. The Islanders are trading Dobson to the Montreal Canadiens, in which he will sign an 8-year deal worth $9.5 million per season, making him one of the top 15 highest defensemen in the NHL. Yeah. So what does that mean, Carolina Hurricanes fans? This actually does affect you ever so slightly, and I will explain. And it won't take too many straight lines or dotted lines to get there. This is not the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, okay? And I can get actually really close to Kevin Bacon with 1 degree because I met Gary Sinise. And Gary Sinise was with Kevin Bacon in Apollo 13.
Oh, that's a fun little fact.
So, yeah, there you go. Really quick. So you are just 2 degrees
2 now.
away from Kevin Bacon by knowing me.
Exactly.
And all of you who are listening, if you are not a degree away from Kevin Bacon, you are now 1 degree closer by just listening to me pontificate. Here's the deal. Noah Dobson, the Montreal Canadiens, now Montreal Canadiens. Montreal and one other team were in the hunt for him right up until the end. The other team happened to be the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Columbus Blue Jackets general manager is Don Waddell. Don Waddell is the former general manager of, as you know, the Carolina Hurricanes. If you've ever listened to the Adam Gold Show at any point in your life, you will know that Don Waddell was now the former general manager, former team president of the Carolina Hurricanes. He is now in Columbus. Don Waddell has now taken the big swing and missed. I will say this very, very slowly and very, very clearly. Don Waddell will not miss again. You get 1 shot, John Wick. He will not miss it again. Columbus is in play for a number of other free agents because Columbus feels, and Don Waddell feels, that his team is very, very close. Matter of fact, last year, I believe in the season, they were just 1 win away from making it into the postseason. After a very challenging preseason, of course, we know the story. They were 1 win away. They feel they are right there. A young team, they don't want to unload anything. They don't want to rebuild. They want to build up. One of the targets for the Columbus Blue Jackets is trying to help themselves out on defense. One of those targets happens to be Rasmus Andersson of the Calgary Flames, who is in the final season of a 6-year contract being paid $4.5 million plus in this final season. He is apparently interested in Andersson of Calgary and would be willing to do things. I'm not sure naughty things, but I'm sure he'd be willing to do things to make sure that Andersson, if he does not end up with his team, does not end up with another team. One of those other teams being linked to Andersson, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, theys and thems, is the Carolina Hurricanes. Whether that is a complete smokescreen, whether that is actually rooted in fact, or whether that is just people making crap up, it has been put out there by a number of sites and a number of reporters that the Hurricanes are interested. Now, as we know, when you make deals and you make trades, they all have to come at the right price. And the Carolina Hurricanes will have to make trades and make deals at the right price. And I'm listening to those, and I'm staring right at you Canes fans who are watching us on the YouTube channel, and those of you listening throughout the state of Carolina, whether it's on delay or whether it's live in your face. The Carolina Hurricanes are going to have to make some decisions very shortly about the course corrections and the direction of this franchise. There are free agents that will be leaving this team, that is undeniable. But this team still has to spend some money. This team still has to spend a couple $1 million to get themselves to the bottom of the NHL salary cap threshold. So we know for a fact, this is not speculation, that they will be making at least one more move. I'm hoping that move is a giant move, a big, big swing for a certain free agent that I like to call the big blue marlin, the big catch, the one that you do not want to let get away because it is so rare. And we just saw it with a trade between the Islanders and the Montreal Canadiens, that big fish you have to take big swings for. And we don't know the compensation that's coming, but what we understand, that compensation probably involves a couple of picks and a player. And those picks are not throwaway picks. They never are when it comes to a player with talent. And you hope the Carolina Hurricanes that are listening right now, that have just picked up their lunch and are on their way back to Lenovo Center and taking big, deep breaths, and I know they listen. Pay attention real clear to the sound of my voice. Take those big swings and make sure you do not get beat out by anybody formerly of this organization. Because that dude, he ain't going to miss out again. I guess we need to do some wall of sound, Victoria. We're 8 minutes late on that, but I suppose we could do that.
The wall of sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
It's all right.
To make sure that we continue the traditions and the values of the Adam Gold Show.
Right.
Paul Ihander in for Adam today. I appreciate him letting me sit in this chair. Victoria is here as well. The NBA draft in the books. And let's talk analysis, shall we? I just mentioned the fact that Cooper Flagg has introduced himself to the Dallas Mavericks assembled media. So that means the draft is over. Other draft choices are introducing themselves to the assembled media across this great nation of ours. But what do people think of those draft picks that are introducing themselves to the assembled media across this country? Well, you know what? Many of them are smarter than me because they live and breathe professional basketball. One of those men that I have met at a grocery store back in the day, PJ Carlissimo, talked about the Charlotte Hornets. We're actually talking about the Hornets on this program, Victoria. The Charlotte Hornets, who I believe, and we'll talk about this in a hot second, who I believe are on that same path that the Carolina Panthers are on. The Charlotte Hornets apparently got themselves a steal when they drafted Ryan Kalkbrenner with the 4th pick of the 2nd round of last night's NBA draft.
I'm really high on this guy. He knows how to play. Excellent pick and roll player. Their pick and roll was a clinic. Watching them to pick and roll, he can block shots. I think he's closer to being a good outside shooter. He's not bad with threes, but I think he will. He's got the potential and he's got the stroke even better. I think this is a steal. I think he's going to be a very good contributor right away in the NBA.
Right away. Zion James, 1 pick before Creighton's Ryan Kalkbrenner. Kalkbrenner, the big knock on Kalkbrenner right now is the fact that he's too tall and dunks too much. You're 7 feet 2 inches tall. What else are you supposed to do?
Yeah, that's your job.
Step back threes? No.
Yeah.
That's not your bit.
Mm-mm.
You want me to shoot within 10 feet of the hoop, dunk, rebound, block shots? Can do, coach.
Right.
That's me. That's my game. I'm tall.
Exactly. I don't have to bend down to get into a doorway for no reason.
That's right. You drafted Con Kneppel. He can get the things on the lower shelves.
Yes.
I will get everything you need, coach, on the tall shelves and more. And that's why Carlissimo believes they got a steal in Kalkbrenner. And that's a very good thing. Why, Victoria, I mentioned the Hornets and the Panthers in the same mold? Because it feels like they're on the same path. Both bringing in brand new coaches in the same year in 2024. Lee with the Hornets, our good friend, the Golden Retriever, Dave Canales for the Panthers. And they're rebuilding with youth. And they're rebuilding with players in mind that meet the characteristics of what they want in their teams. Intelligent guys, guys that play with heart, and guys that understand that they can work within the system and make things happen, and that's what's going to grow franchises. Now, for the Panthers, it's easy. We've been dissecting the Panthers constantly, Victoria. I know you've been on top of mind of that one.
Oh, yeah.
The Hornets, it's a little bit different. You're getting a little bit more of a look under the hood because we're not talking about 53 men. We're only talking about 15.
Mm-hmm.
But in your mind, you look at the 4 players that were picked. 2 of them from Duke, 2 others, Creighton and UConn. Does it make sense? Does it, at least if you're a Hornets fan, should you feel better about your team this morning? They're not. They're not going to win the World Championship next year, I promise you. But do you feel a little bit better?
You should. If you're a Hornets fan, you should. Because it feels like they're actually playing chess instead of checkers now. They're making wise moves for the long term. And that's what you should do. You can't do quick fixes and, like, sustain it. So I think they're doing smart things.
Now, we'll see what happens in Summer League. That's in a couple of weeks. We'll see if they all mesh and they all play, and I'm sure they will, and hopefully they stay out of Zion territory. Zion got hurt at Summer League. I was actually at that Summer League game where Zion played and ended up getting hurt. That was a star-studded thing, man. Mark Cuban was sitting in front of me. LeBron was there. It was nuts. And now, I say in front of me. I was where the press was sitting.
Right, so
they were in front of me about 70 rows. Let's not exaggerate, okay?
Technically.
I'm not going to be the guy that lies to you saying, you know what, LeBron and I were sharing popcorn together and our hands magically touched.
Yeah, we high-fived.
No, dude was way down in front and I was way up top. And hopefully they get to stay out of some of that noise. That's a quick wall of sound. I don't think we need to dig in too much more into the wall of sound. We got a lot of things still to digest. One of those things we need to digest is, well, the Carolina Hurricanes plans. And I do want to talk about Drake Powell as well. Yes, Carolina fans, I did not forget about you. Drake Powell got drafted by the Brooklyn Nets, one of 5 players drafted by the Brooklyn Nets in the first round. Does it mean a lot to him? Does it set up well for him? WRAL Television out of Raleigh, Pat Welter, going to join us next on The Adam Gold Show.
Talking sports, so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the offseason, but it doesn't mean me and my co-host, WRAL TV's Chris Lee, take a break from our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as training camp approaches, insights on the rookies, the free agents, and the surprises, plus all the insider info on the upcoming season. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcast or watch on YouTube.
Do you have a wedding anniversary coming up? Don't just mark the day. Make it unforgettable with Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Shop their exquisite selection of designer jewelry or consider upgrading your original engagement ring with the diamond she really deserves. Whether this is the 1st or 31st anniversary, celebrate your love with something special, wrapped in a black and white striped box from Bailey's. Voted best jeweler from the Triangle to the Coast. Every woman wants a Bailey box. Visit us today in-store or at baileybox.com.
This summer, the world's game comes to Charlotte. Bank of America Stadium will host epic round of 16 matchups on Saturday, June 28th and Monday, June 30th. Teams will be revealed soon, but one thing's clear, you won't want to miss this. Be there when it happens. Grab your tickets now at FIFA.com/tickets. Bank of America Stadium. The world is watching.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets, choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
If you need to hire, you know it takes time. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. You simply pick a time and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day.
Try Zip Intro for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
Do your summer plans include travel? Make sure your prep includes more than just flights and hotels. Stay up to date with COVID-19 vaccination, especially if you're 65 or older or have certain health conditions. There have been surges in COVID-19 in the summer, too. It's important to help protect yourself no matter your destination. So check eligibility and schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like frames. Because you found a classic 70s concert poster. But when you went to get it framed, you realized the frame will cost about 4 times the amount of the poster. Which is actually absurd because no one will be looking at the frame, and if they are, then you severely overestimated how cool this poster is. But then you remember by switching your home and auto to Progressive, you could save hundreds and put it towards a classic 70s concert poster in an absurdly overpriced frame. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
This is Adam Gold.
We had lightning hit a pretty large tree.
Oh, yeah.
About 150 yards from the house. It'll be my sign to go win the lottery. But you know what? I'm sorry, I can't. I have rules. If it's not over $1 billion, I'm not playing.
Yeah, still just millions.
The Adam Gold Show.
Ever since I missed out on that Collective Soul, I've been nailing all these artists. This is Tayo Cruz, by the way. Tayo Cruz and Dynamite. Kind of a one-hit wonder here.
I know. I had a theme today.
The theme was what?
One-hit wonders. So
seriously, that was it. Okay, so I didn't miss out on too much. All right, so there you go. Paul Weihander in for Adam Gold today. Adam Gold Show. Appreciate him letting me sit in the chair as always. Victoria is here. And on a Friday, on the final day of June, it's probably best to clear the mechanism, so to speak. And what better way to clear the mechanism than to have our next guest join us? He is one of the sports extraordinaires over at WRAL Television in Raleigh, North Carolina. Pat Welter joins us. Good afternoon, Pat.
Yeah, Paul, I appreciate the intro. And I got to say, Collective Soul, not a one-hit wonder in my eyes. But, you know, I take the point, you know, 90s alt-rock, everybody had their moment, and I guess this is mine on the show. Happy to be on here, going from NBA draft to NHL draft. It's slow time of year, but sports never stops.
No, it never does, and, you know, we get to dissect it and chop it up a little teeny bit, and with the NBA draft wrapping up, Duke with the 5 starters all getting drafted, and then we see, and I didn't mention this too, that other Triangle and North Carolina based players did sign contracts. R.J. Felton of East Carolina is going to sign a deal with Indiana. We saw R.J. Davis sign with the Lakers. So it's not that everybody got shut out because they didn't get drafted, but they did find some landing spots. And one of the guys that found a landing spot on night 1 was Drake Powell, and I know, you know, you had a chance to read into him a little bit, and one of 5 players essentially for the Brooklyn Nets. Does he actually have a fair shot of making that club? It feels like the Nets are going into full tank mode.
Yeah, I mean, you think about like the landing spots you could go to, and when you're a prospect like Drake Powell, who's McDonald's All-American, a guy that you knew could be one and done coming out of high school, you know, right there in Pittsburgh, but yet, you know, his first freshman season at UNC was like, you could kind of look at it in 2 ways. Like, he played a lot, played a significant role, was one of Hubert Davis's like go-to players as far as like making winning plays, doing whatever the team needed, but it wasn't maybe as like flashy as you expected. So that's where it was kind of like, oh, does he stay? Does he go? Could he come back and be like the star player for UNC maybe next season? And he decides to go, and I think that decision was validated by, you know, going as high as 22. And I think he's a guy, Paul, that has just like a lot more to show than what he did at UNC. Like, He played the 4 for most of the season. Anybody who saw Carolina at the beginning of the year was like, oh, no, they are massively undersized, and this is going to be a problem. And one of the ways they solved that was by using Powell's versatility offensively and defensively at the 4, and then when you saw later in the year when he slotted over more towards like a wing with Withers at the 4, Jalen Withers, like Powell looked a little more comfortable, and so did the rest of the team. So I think it's a good landing spot for Drake. It's just, you know, it's a little weird when you're on a team with all young players. Like, you like a little bit of veteran leadership to kind of show you the way, but he's a kid that's like super mature for his age, super driven, not one to be distracted by off-court type issues in the big city. So I'm a believer. I mean, I know him about as well as any player I've ever covered. So I'm certainly a believer in his NBA chances.
Pat Welter, WRAL Television right here in Raleigh, North Carolina, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. And Pat, much has been made, and I brought this up. Duke Duke's starting 5 all got drafted, and 2 of them ended up in Charlotte. And I asked this question to Victoria, and she agrees that there should be a little bit more hope. Maybe there's perhaps a little bit more light when it comes to being a Hornets fan, and you don't have to be ashamed so much based on how the draft actually worked out fairly well for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a new era in Charlotte. Like, me and some of my colleagues at WRAL were going through the past drafts of the Charlotte Hornets, and it's a graveyard. I mean,
yeah, it is.
Tough. It was tough during the Jordan era where it felt like, true or not, it felt like sometimes they were just watching March Madness and picking, Frank Kaminsky in the lottery, and it blew up in their face time and time again. And, I guess you could say the same thing about just taking Duke players. Like, how hard is that to do? But, at a minimum, at least with a guy like Con Knipple, you know what he's going to give you. You know he's going to give you effort, winning pedigree, mature beyond his years, NBA-ready body, and a shot that I've compared him as somebody as high as, could he be Klay Thompson on the high end? That's certainly a pretty high end. On the low end, he's at least a contributing player. I mean, the thing I don't love about the pick is, man, that's a lot. You're not getting a star at 4 overall, which is, tough sometimes to swallow. But you know what? You're not getting a bust either. And, it would have been fun to take Ace Bailey there, who – I got to say, despite all the off-the-court questions about his management, tantalizing tape, to use a buzzword for all the internet bros out there. Overall, I like the draft. I like the direction. And, they nailed it, really with Brandon Miller over Scoot Henderson. That was the big landmine they avoided, and they seem to be acquiring just kind of winning players since.
Pat Welter, WRAL Television in Raleigh, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Paul Eihander in for Adam today. Pat, as we talk about Duke, and we're going to switch to hockey here in a hot second, as we talk about Duke and these guys and all 5 of them landing in different spots, and I'm allowing you to spread your wings here and opine just a bit, who's in the best situation to succeed?
I mean, it's I guess the right answer sometimes is just the obvious answer. Can you think of a better, and I guess ways worse landing spot than Dallas for Cooper Flagg? Just what a crazy whirlwind that city and Nico Harrison has been through, and he can act like he saw this all coming. But Dallas was not supposed to win the lottery. Luka Doncic should never probably have been traded, but in a way, they got the player that they wanted. They didn't love some of the way Luka handled himself, off the court, and he's a very heliocentric player. And Cooper Flagg is the opposite in all those ways. He is a distributor first. He is a guy that lets the game come to him. He's a guy that impacts basketball without the ball, that can defend at the highest level. I guess a little bit of that remains to be seen at the NBA level. If there's I think it's unfair at times too. People say, "Oh, Cooper Flagg isn't athletic." Are you sure? Did you see the dunk against Pitt? Have you seen him take the ball off the backboard? A lot of that stuff is, and it's sometimes LeBron James-esque. And I'm not saying he is as athletic as LeBron James, but he possesses a lot of the same qualities, positionally, size-wise. And as LeBron pointed out, unlike him, he's going to a team that's got some elite players with championship experience in Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving in a winning city. So it's hard to think of a better landing spot necessarily for Cooper Flagg to go in and have some support around him, at least at the beginning, and not have to try to score 35 a game.
Yeah, in the season we got to witness him in person. It's pretty clear that his improvisation skills are well above average and is able to create things that other players can't do. Pat Welter joining us here, WRAL Television out of Raleigh. Let's switch gears to hockey. Pat, as we move from NBA to the NHL, I know you'll be in the building tonight as the Carolina Hurricanes will be making their lone draft choice. It's going to be a long wait for you. Hopefully you've got a nap and they'll feed you well over there, that they picked 29th. Eric Tulsky is first. I mean, he's been involved in drafts before, obviously, and he was involved in the draft last year as the GM. This year, a little bit different of a situation, finds himself having to either kind of restock the cupboard when it comes to making a pick at number 29, and this is he's not afraid of making big moves. And from a guy whose first move as general manager was re-signing a Ryan Suzuki to a minimum contract extension to taking a big swing at Mikko Rantanen, I think Eric Tulsky has made it a point to shed some of the analytics kind of shield that he is hidden behind and is kind of doing a little bit more like, hey, this guy is going to be best for the team, not because of his high Corsi whatever it is, but because this dude can bust heads.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes hand in hand with the analytics because, like, the numbers tell you you need the puck to go in the net. And clearly, like, they hear what the fans are saying out there. Like, they know what they're missing. And, like, are they going to be able to get that guy tonight? Well, no, not necessarily, because, like, the NHL draft, unlike the NBA draft where Cooper Flag could go in and make an immediate impact, takes, like, 3 years to see these guys, you know, at least even show up on the roster. But what we could see tonight is a package of draft picks. You know, Carolina has a history of trading out of the first round. They haven't taken a pick higher than 30th since 2020 when they took Seth Jarvis, 13th overall. And they've got kind of a war chest here, Paul. Like, I mean, they've got $27 million in cap space now after the Eric Robinson re-signing, and they've got their draft picks plus 2 from Tampa, plus like a whole war chest full from Dallas from the Mikko Rantanen trade, you know. So I like Tulsky's approach. You got to love the organization's approach. Like, there's a reason they made the playoffs 7 straight years, because they are always, like, not just going all in for now, but thinking of the future. And Tulsky, I think, has done a really good job of having his toe in both waters, where, like, he's willing to make a move for Jake Gensel, for Mikko Rantanen, but then at the same time sees the writing on the wall and ships Rantanen out and gets contributing draft picks and gets a great player in Logan Stankoven in the meantime that nobody really even saw coming. So in Tulsky, I say we trust. He's gonna, as he says, explore every and any opportunity. And you hope some kind of fireworks are coming here as free agency is looming July 1st.
Yeah, and we've already seen a few signings and re-signings over the past several hours here, so the job becomes even more challenging for the Canes general manager. WRAL Television's Pat Welter. Pat, appreciate you hanging out with us today. Appreciate the insight. Enjoy the evening with the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah, thanks so much, Paul. Yeah, follow along. I'll be live on WRAL starting 5 o'clock hour and hanging out with Tulsky and see if Rod Brind'Amour's in the building. Kind of a new thing they're doing with the decentralized draft. So anxious and excited to check it out. Thanks for having me on.
For sure. Pat Welter, WRAL Television out of Raleigh, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Yes, the NHL draft is tonight. The Carolina Hurricanes looking to put some more bodies in the organization more than anything else. But he does make a good point. I did kind of forget that a bit, that the Hurricanes are not necessarily a first-round buyer when it comes to the draft. And at 29 and at 30, I mean, let's be honest, you're talking about late 20s and 30s, and he agrees with me on this. Much like the NBA, and even to the case of Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball has its different circumstances, but you are talking about impact. And in Major League Baseball, the number 2 pick from last year, Chase Burns, has already made his debut at the Major League Baseball level. He pitched for the Cincinnati Reds a couple days ago, threw 5 innings, and had a really great debut. And Wake Forest, Chase Burns. Trey Savage from East Carolina University, also drafted the same year, but was picked number 20. Now, he's pitching well, but he right now is at Double-A. He steamrolled his trades through Single-A and High-A ball, the upper levels of rookie ball, and he's now in Double-A playing for New Hampshire right now. And he struggled in his first 2 outings, and then in his last game here, decided just to roll through a couple of lineups and had a really good outing for New Hampshire. He's in Double-A, but the Toronto Blue Jays feel that he could be called up by the end of the season if he maintains his progression. But you're also talking about how long does it take for you to get to that upper level. In rare instances, they jump very quickly. But when you're talking about late-round picks, even in the NBA, certainly in the NFL, sometimes you just don't make the impact you think you can. Carolina Panthers can speak to that with Xavier Legette, who had to deal with some injuries and has now recovered from those, and hopefully there's a big year 2 for him. In the NHL, when you're selected at the bottom of the first round, it's not necessarily an impactful player, but you hope at some point in their career they can make one, which is, again, when you talk about the Carolina Hurricanes, Don Waddell was the old general manager, and, credit to him for bringing us Seth Jarvis. There's no doubt about it. But there are a lot of first-round picks that he made and late-round picks and early second-round picks that haven't quite ascended just yet. But they're close. But it takes some time. So that'll be part of what Eric Tulsky and the Brain Trust, and they are number crunchers over there, there's no doubt about it, will be dealing with moving forward. Paul Ihander in for Adam Gold today on the Adam Gold Show. Victoria is here as well. Coming up next, what we're learning about North Carolina and the belief around the nation when it comes to being too early in those college football bowl projections. Next up.
Talking sports, so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
My name is Stacy. I'm the proud mother of 2 daughters who were born prematurely. Our daughter Emma weighed less than 2 pounds when she was born, and today she's 100% prescription formula fed. It costs over $125 a day. Private insurance does not cover her formula, but Medicaid does. And I couldn't imagine the choices we'd have to make without it. My name is Stacy, and I'm speaking up to protect NC Medicaid.
Learn more at ncchild.org/speakup. That's ncchild.org/speakup.
Healthcare? Why?
Why is it so hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
As a school nurse, I feel like we're really that contact for the schools.
between the Department of Public Health and what goes on in the school system.
The face of the Department of Public Health in our school is our nurse, Nurse Emma. All the communication that she was receiving and direction she was receiving, she made sure to communicate with us and be a wonderful partner with us.
These kids need their routines.
NC Public Health. Everywhere, every day, everyone.
This is Adam Gold.
I told Tim, who does the afternoon show, I said, I'm about to turn this game around. We need Cheez-Its. So I went to go get magical Lucky Cheez-Its, and guess what? Boom. Period 2, tied it up. And then at the end of the game, I still had like 8 Cheez-Its in the cup left, and I said, Lucky Cheez-Its.
There you go. The Adam Gold Show.
Man, you are challenging me today. So I don't remember, by the way, Adam Gold Show here. Paul Ihander in for Adam today. It's been an enjoyable Friday with Victoria.
Yeah.
Victoria's been playing one-hit wonders. And this is, I can't pronounce the name, but is it Goite?
Gautier.
Gautier. Okay. Gautier.
Gautier.
I know how it's spelled. It's Goyte, right?
It's Gotyye.
Goty.
Mm-hmm.
See, I couldn't even get it in a spelling contest. Gautier.
Yes.
How do you get Gautier out of Gotye?
I don't know. People probably say that about my last name, too.
Got ye? Got ye.
Got ye.
Got ye. So, yes, there you go. Look, I rolled through it today. I only missed one. Collective Soul. I'm kind of kicking myself for that one.
Now you won't ever forget it.
Whoa. Let me let your light shine down. I can carry a tune. Sometimes in a bag.
My steering wheel has never complained about mine.
Right. You know my thoughts about people singing in the car, right?
No, I don't.
Oh, when people sing in my car, and trust me, it ended a couple of relationships. If I wanted to hear you sing, I would have bought your album.
Right. Well, see, this is why I do it by myself. That's how people feel at concerts, too. I can get down with that.
You know what? I can sing at concerts.
Oh, so it's okay at concerts.
I'm okay because everybody sings along, just because everybody knows the popular song.
Right.
And if you're going to a show, you've already understood that in this day and age, people are going to sing along to the hits.
Yes.
They're going to. Now, it ruins some larger concerts. There's no doubt about it. But there's something about being totally lubed up and just belting at the top of your lungs the most generic hit created by the group that you just came to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it happens.
I get it. Like, I saw Green Day.
Oh.
And we all sang Time of Your Life together, like we did.
Just saw them for the first time when I went to Florida. So good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad
Billy
I got
Joe's
to see
amazing.
them.
Yeah, Green Day's amazing. But there were songs you sang along with. Now, every song, no.
Sit down.
I'm like, yeah, just sit down. I sing along, but just sit your ass down.
Yes.
That's fine.
Yes.
That's totally fine. One thing, I put out a plea earlier. We're going to deal with it in the rewind just a little bit about community college and NIL funding and whatnot. But I have another direct plea today. So there are rumors that college basketball is going to expand the tournament. There are talks underway. The NCAA has come out and said, hey, we're talking with our media partners about expanding the NCAA March Madness from the current 68 teams, and they wouldn't go to 72, but they want to go to 76. And while the bidding has opened up for World Cup venues and whatnot, the bidding hasn't opened up because this hasn't been officially pronounced yet, that they would expand the March Madness to 76 teams. And right now, Dayton, Ohio, is the only site for the extra first 4 of basketball since the expansion. There are 4 games that are played there, and the winners of those games obviously advance to the tournament. If they expand it to 76, and I'm not sure if it worked for women's basketball, but I think it should because, again, we're talking about equality. We're talking about equal time and equal places. That those games should also be played at neutral sites. And I am speaking specifically to the areas that could hold them. And I know there's a brand new ownership group of Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro. I know that we have Lenovo Center right here in Raleigh. I know that we have the Spectrum in Charlotte, and I would even clump Wilmington into this as well. Because if Dayton, Ohio can host extra games, I think those cities could also be part of it. And I don't want to exclude Boone. I don't want to exclude Asheville. mean, because it would be kind of cool if all the teams got together at the Biltmore because they have a place to play. But
it's fancy.
What I'm saying is if you are involved in a sports commission or involved with an arena in any of those cities, and this word comes down immediately that they want to play more games and they're willing to host them in neutral sites, and even if they aren't willing to host them in neutral sites, what does it hurt for you to ask? That it's not even a bid, that you just raise your hand and say, I volunteer and tribute, that we will host those games. We'll host 2, we'll host 4, whatever it is. Because we saw it in the college football playoff about how well it worked with on-campus sites. And for basketball, it works in some cases, but even in women's basketball, it's still not quite a buy for me. I've seen some of these sites, and while they will sell out at state, they didn't necessarily sell out at Duke when they wanted to put these as regional sites. So it doesn't work for everybody. There's not a one-size-fits-all. But if college basketball does expand and they want to play more games and involve more teams, then I suggest neutral sites, and those of you in Raleigh, in Greensboro, in Charlotte, and wherever else you think it's viable within the sound of my voice, that you should be making that phone call, sending that email, firing off that X post or whatever it is. Because you got to get involved. Because it means more money for you. It means more exposure for you. And I think North Carolina, when it comes to college basketball, we kind of do it right.
Oh, yeah.
That's
our thing.
I'm just saying. So, all right. Got that one off my chest. Paul Eihander in for Adam Gold today. It is a Friday. Thanks for hanging out with us today. They are out. CBS Sports has come out with its 2 early college football projections. And of these projections, there are a number of ACC teams and a number of local teams as well that you would be interested in. When it comes, though, to the college football playoff, they're only putting in 2 ACC teams. And I'm not even talking about the pseudo-ACC team in Notre Dame. They're only ACC in name only, and that's for basketball and other sports. They aren't for football because we like to be independent. At ACC, Notre Dame, we do our own thing. I digress. The 2 ACC teams that would be involved in the college football playoff, at least to these way too early bowl projections, Miami. Miami would be playing LSU in the first round. Miami, of course, as we all know, missed out in the ACC championship because they lost a couple of games last year, would find themselves back in. The other ACC team that would earn a first-round bye because the college football playoff this year, I'm teaching you something if you didn't know this, and if you did already, bear with me because some of your neighbors don't know. This year's college football playoff is now about the 4 highest-ranked teams getting the first-round byes and not the overall ACC champion. So, I'm not saying that Clemson's going to win the ACC championship. I'm just saying that Clemson's going to have the first-round bye. And this because Kate Klubnik is back, 80% of the offense is back, and let's be honest, Dabo Swinney is still considered one of the top coaches in college football, and rightfully so. Unless you're going to knock him off, he is still the man. And to be the man, as Ric Flair would say,
you got to beat the man.
There you go. Thank you for finishing that. But there are other teams. There are other teams out there in the ACC that should say something about how your teams are being viewed, at least at the national level. And for NC State, you got a lot of offense coming back, and we know this. C.J. Bailey's coming back. Dave Doran hired 2 new coordinators. Kurt Roper's going to run that offense. And that offense is coming back with a vengeance. They need to figure out who's going to block up front, but they're not going to need to know who to throw it to outside for C.J. Bailey, which is why NC State is being pegged right now, not for a top-tier bowl, but for a trip to New York and the Pinstripe Bowl. And that is all about continuity. The one thing you notice about these lists and these predictions, it is about continuity. Coastal Carolina, those of you listening to us in Wilmington right now, you get a kind of a double whammy, right? Because you get Wilmington, you get ECU and Coastal Carolina. Well, good news. You can split your allegiance. Coastal Carolina being picked, unfortunately, not to go very far. They're only going to go home. They're being picked to play in the Myrtle Beach Bowl.
Oh, my goodness.
Against South Florida. So, while it is called the Myrtle Beach Bowl, they play it in Conway.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where Coastal plays,
Right.
So it's Conway to Conway. That's okay. That's okay. You still get the bowl payout.
Yay, there you go.
You get to sleep in your own bed.
You don't have to travel.
There is that. Those of you, though, for ECU fans, you're going to earn a trip to the Fenway Bowl. The Fenway Bowl in Boston, Massachusetts, to take on Manny Diaz's Duke Blue Devils. So in back-to-back years, you would get triangle teams in a bowl. And East Carolina would be salivating over that one. Now, I'm not saying it'd be the rowdier of crowds. ECU and North Carolina State are going to get that out of the way in the first game of the season come August 28th. But if you want kind of that highbrow bowl game in Boston, you get one with Duke and ECU. And by the way, former state assistant Tony Gibson, he's going to a bowl too in New Orleans. Marshall. They think Marshall's going to a bowl. And that is one of those first-time coach situations. Now, there are other ACC teams that are going to be picked to go to bowls. Syracuse is in, Georgia Tech's in, SMU is in. But North Carolina is also in as well. North Carolina, first-year head coach. We have not seen this offense in true action. We don't even know who the starting quarterback is for the Tar Heels. But we do know, and we do believe, and others do believe, in Chapel Bill. In Chapel Bill, you'll be playing in the Military Bowl against the Tulane Green Wave. Yep, take that trip just up the 95 to Annapolis and enjoy the fruits of Maryland. Maryland's gorgeous in December. It's rainy. Actually, it's kind of rainy all over the place in December. But the Military Bowl it is. And what does that tell you about reputation? More than anything else, reputation. First-year head coach. Same thing happening at UNLV out west as Dan Mullen takes over out there, former Florida head coach, former ESPN analyst. They believe UNLV is going to a bowl, even though that entire roster got shredded in the transfer portal, and Dan Mullen had no school to actually draw players from. They believe he's going there, and that is reputation as well. So interesting to see the early on here, who is being believed in and who is not being believed in at all. But for right now, Heels fans, right now Blue Devils fans, right now State fans, right now ECU fans, right now Carolina fans, you guys are going bowling in December.
There's promise.
There's promise. All right, let's rewind, shall we? Earlier in the Adam Gold Show during this program, we talked with National Junior College Athletic Association Regional 10 Commissioner Lynn Hartzell on the phone from Charlotte. He is looking for a bigger piece of pie for the community colleges within the great state of North Carolina and community colleges within Virginia and South Carolina. That Region 10 is pretty big. There are challenges that come during this NIL era for junior colleges and community colleges, which, by the way, do sponsor sports. And he mentioned for him, it's always a challenge for community colleges to raise money.
Absolutely. And, you know, we've had to get very creative. Our presidents have had to get very creative on continuing to fund athletics. You know, we're funded at about a 50% rate of what we were 8 or 10 years ago because of our funding model. The costs have gone up, you know, and you know, there's always fundraising and that stuff to do. But with the state money out, with gambling tax money, we know it's going to universities, going to high schools, and it should be. But we just want to be a part of that equation where, you know, our community colleges can get some of that money to better create opportunities for our student athletes, which is only going to be growing in the future with what's happening at the NCAA Division I schools with the reduced rosters over time.
And he is talking about roster limits, by the way, which are coming to Power 4 schools, Group of 5 schools, and others. Some of that talent will be trickling down into community colleges. How much? Not quite sure. Not quite sure. But they got to figure out how to way to pay for sports and keep those sports competitive. So I talked with Lynn Hartzell, Region 10 Commissioner, Men's Director. I asked him when he talked to his ADs, what's the one thing that always comes up in conversation?
Well, it is funding. It goes back to that. You know, it will probably scare you to see how some of our teams travel. We don't have, at our community colleges, not one school has a full-time athletic trainer. That's going to be a more point of emphasis going forward. And you would like to increase your scholarships, but again, you're just worried about operating, having an operating budget that'll get you through the season. And, we really don't want ADs or presidents to say, hey, we want to put plaques in our trophy case, but we want them to be silver, which means runner-up. We don't want you to win it. Then we got to spend more money on you advancing in the postseason. That's not the mindset that we want.
Is there a payout? Is there something coming? Can it happen? Can it happen? And I know there's some thoughts about where to get some of this money. And they are advocating, at least Linda's telling me, they're advocating that it should come from that sports betting cut. That sports betting cut that is going to the 4-year schools throughout the state of North Carolina, but not one of it, not one little teeny bit of it, is earmarked for community colleges. Again, 20 community colleges, your neighbors, your friends, your kids, your neighbors' kids, your friends' kids, maybe your kids playing community college sports, softball, football, basketball, track and field at some of these places. From March 24 through February 25, North Carolina took in $120 million in taxes on sports gambling, which will be distributed all over the place, way over projections. I'm suggesting 1%. 1%. That's it. Everybody else can have whatever they want, but 1%, $1.2 million. Divide that by 20. It's not a big chunk of change, but it's a chunk of change that they're getting just a little bit more, which is what Lynn told me here. And I asked him about if it's just getting people out there to support schools by attending, maybe just being a part of a booster club, or perhaps just buying those barbecue plates when they're offered.
Well, and what we found out, and this is not, minimalizing what we do, but if you go to one of our games, most of our games, it's immediate family, boyfriend, girlfriend, that's who comes to games. You don't really get the local flavor like you might in a high school. So we realize that. Some of our successful programs, they're not selling gyms or fields out, and we understand that. The biggest turnaround for us is, getting to be part of the gambling tax money that, is being sent elsewhere. And again, those other entities are very deserving of that money, but, we hold a special place in North Carolina as well, and we just want to better put ourselves and the student athlete with the opportunities forward to give them a good experience, both academically and athletically.
When sports gambling came online, within the gambling tax revenue, $300,000 was going to go to each of the 13 UNC system schools. $300,000. What I'm saying is peel off just a little teeny bit of that. The smallest bit. I'm talking about 1%. And distribute that to these schools to give them a little bit of hope so that at one point at these athletes don't have to call home to say I need a new pair of shoes because the school didn't provide me with a pair of shoes. They provided me with a uniform. That's Little League. That's Pop Warner. That's rec ball. They're still competing in the communities. And by the way, they're getting education at the same time. 1%. 30% of the remaining revenue that's after it's all distributed gets put into the newly created, this is the North Carolina Major Events, Games and Attractions Fund. I just talked about them putting out for March Madness expansion. Take 1% of that. If you're a state senator, state representative listening to me right now, take 1% of that, funnel that to community colleges. It will pay tenfold. I know. I have a junior college education. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you so much. Enjoy the sports weekend, everybody. And as I like to say, Paul Eihander wishing all of you to keep it on the shiny part.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Victoria with 99.9 The Fan with a Men's Health Month tip from WakeMed Heart and Vascular. Each year, smoking causes more than 480,000 deaths in the United States. That's nearly 1 in 5 deaths. Those aren't odds you want to play with. Don't put off kicking the habit. In just 1 year after quitting, a person's risk for coronary heart disease decreased